Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the world of ERA. My name is Stephen Koenig and glad to have you guys here. And welcome to our final round, round 7 here at Donington Park. It is going to be a wild one. It is the ending for our run in the world of ERA for season 11. And it is close. It is wild. It is crazy. And it's a moment that everyone has been waiting for. So let's take a look at the circuit that our drivers will be competing on. Donington Park, a very difficult circuit, a very challenging circuit that will test our drivers. Main ones keep an eye out for the S's, where a lot of side-by-side action can happen, but you got to ensure you're on the right line. Otherwise, you're going to be venturing off into the dirt. Many of our drivers outbrake themselves there. Melbourne Hairpin is also another difficult corner to get right. You got to ensure that you keep right to the left-hand side, swing the nose in and pull yourself in. But our main straight into Redgate. Now, this is one to keep an eye out for. One, the pit entrance is very early after the final corner, so you're going to have to keep as far left as possible. But heading towards turn 1 is exactly where the cars are coming out of the pits. And that's going to make life very, very challenging on the way out because they're going to exit straight towards that apex at full tilt. So it's going to have to be mindful of who's in the pits, what's happening in the pits, and where exactly you are on circuit. So our drivers are going to have to keep that well in mind as they get ready to rock, roll, and rumble. And taking a look at our grandstands, we've got Paul Fenter saying, unfortunately, not going to be making this round, but that's a little bit of a bug of Paul, but fully understand that you are out of it. But still good to see that you're going in, being part of the grandstands. Ashley Bretwell Wilson saying, what's up? It's great to see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're actually going to see maybe if Paul Fenter, if you do have an opportunity, you're more than welcome to come to the commentary box, say a few words, because this is the final round. And it's going to be a wild one. But for what many people don't know, we're going to go down to the track where I've been peering out the window and, well, it's not looking so hot. Welcome to a very, very wet Donington Park. And this is going to be a properly wild race nonetheless, as our drivers will look to stand at the top of the board. At the moment, they are doing practice, and Teddy Blondo getting at 135.6 in the wet. But let's talk about the championship, because that's where many, many people are going to be asking, what's happening with the championship? Who is where? Well, starting off with Christoph Peterson out in first place for the Diamond class on 92 points. Mahayath Musa on 76 points, and Darius Malsky going and running on 74 points. So that is our top 3 at Diamond. Michael Castro running on 52 points. Sean Skitter in 5th place on 40 points, tying it up with fellow teammate Chris Wall, who actually landed up nearly taking out his teammates in the last run, but also got a little bit of a slap on the wrist for going and losing control there. Thomas Morton running in 7th position on 34 points. Paul Fenter, who we know is not racing, he's in 8th position, running with 30 points. Chris Wiggins, 24 points in 9th. Craig Hewitt in 10th on 18 points. Matthew Gamble on 16 points. Stephen Malolo James on 16 points. And Teddy Blonder is on his way at the back on 0 points, but 13th overall. New driver. So we do see Chris Wall going and venturing himself off into the distance. Moving on to our Platinum drivers. Glenn Smith, who's currently the fastest out on track, is leading the championship in the Platinum. He's getting chased down by Nico Lawrence in 2nd place. And then we've got Camille Hassin, who is actually running in 3rd place on 63 points. So Nico Lawrence is on 65, Camille is on 63, tied up with Martin Spritzer. And Martin is running he's running 63 points as well. So he has an opportunity here to move his way up through the order. So keep an eye on this Lamborghini, as he has a chance to usurp the entire order. Lucas Kolob in 5th place, followed by Dave Young, Ernest Lumbergs, Christoph Rolotsky, Christian Finger in 9th place. He was commentating on the previous round, so unfortunately he missed out a race there. David Borski running in 10th, Christian Gosch Sebastian Rubsum, Simon Cossett, Eva Bravo, Terence Ferreira in 15th, and Daniel Christo rounding out in 16th. But we did have the introduction of our gold runners, which has really changed it up here in Server 1. And we're already starting to see it all come to effect. So first place of our gold division is Lewis Knight, who is currently standing at the top of the points. 73 points. But on 70 points, right behind him, is the likes of Skurt Reynolds. So keep an eye on Skurt Reynolds. He has an opportunity here to get some big moves to get into that top spot. And third place is Ike Sky. So Sky is going to hope to push a little bit harder as well. He's running in third place on 66 points. But Flo Scub, who you see currently out on track, is running with 65 points in fourth place. So 1 point off third place, but he is not too far ahead of David Roth, who is looking to make his way through. He's running in fifth place, 62 points. 60 points is Nicholas Porras, along with Patrick Biles on 54 points. And then Federico Calgero in 8th with 22 points. Samuel Jardine on 16 points. Blake Moore on 4. And Liam Smith rounding out our field. So this is going to be an absolute mind-boggling race. And the drivers are going to have to really figure out what they're going to do here, because this is going to be a close one. This is going to be testing the waters of what you will be able to do. And, well, talking about testing the waters, the rain itself is going to change things up. As we've already seen, Teddy Blonder, one of the drivers keep an eye out for, debut outing here, and he's doing a 133.6. David Roth in second place. Sean Skitter currently in third. Glenn Smith, Martin Spritzer, Mahayath Musa is out on track, but there's a couple of drivers that I'm not seeing here. One of them is going to be the likes of Darius. I don't see Darius racing, so he's going to lose out. Christoph Peterson is out on track. He's going to have to try and defend his honor. And from a Season 10 championship winner, he's going to have to try and get that Season 11. It's going to be close, though. It's going to be a monumental run, as drivers are going to be right on the back of him, and namely the likes of Mahayath Musa, who is running in second place, has an opportunity here. So working out the points, roughly, if Christoph Peterson gets lower than third and Mahayath Musa gets first place, so Mahayath Musa has to finish in first. Christoph Peterson finishes in fourth. Mahayath Musa gets a win. If Christoph Peterson gets third, second, or first, he takes the championship here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what's on the cards for our Diamond class and who's going to be able to get their way to the top. So, with that being said, we saw a little bit of a shots of a wet track. We're going to be moving out of practice and heading towards our qualifying. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope you are excited as much as I am, because this is going to be a proper run. I've got to say, the madness that's come down to this, the crazy of rain on Donington, is definitely going to challenge the drivers. Ashley Breville Wilson saying the randomness is madness, Stephen. Try making a setup for the team, but it's all over the place. That's it. You got to try and take a guess of what you're going to get here. Christoph Peterson out in the fastest, doing a 133.3, but he hasn't been the most comfortable around the track. But Teddy Blonder is one to keep a very, very close eye out. He's done very, very well, and in his times has been improving every step of the way, and may be the critical point to go and cost the championship. So if Teddy Blonder goes and holds back Christoph Peterson, if the likes of Mahayath Musa can get that first place, it is going to be a Season 11 victory going to him. Or will we see the crown still be held on by Christoph Peterson? So we're going to be moving over to the likes of our qualifying session. And I hope you're just as excited as I am, because this is going to be a monumental run for the drivers who need to figure out what's going to be on cards here, what's going to be the opportune moments, who's going to be able to get that climb through the order. So let's head down to qualifying as they come pouring out like Sky. First one out in the Lexus for the logistical nightmare trot. And then we have got Krzysztof Rolutsky in the Hollow Knight livery McLaren. One big fan favorite, that is for certain. Nicholas Porras out on the track. Chris Wall is out on the track. Lucas Kolob will be trying to push himself a little bit harder in the Merc. David Roth, Martin Spitzer, Glenn Smith, Teddy Blonder, Sean Skitter, Ernest Limbriggs, along with Nico Lawrence, Blake Moore, Mahayath Musa, Flo Scub, Lewis Knight out on track, and Camille Hassan looking to move his way up through the order. So this is going to be a close one. This is going to be a wild one, folks, and it is going to be all or nothing for the championships. That is for certain. Everyone's going to have to push that a little bit harder to ensure they stay into the mix. The only car that hasn't gone out on track is Dave Young at the moment. Everyone else looking to start their first lap on a very, very wet track. Chris Wall being one of the cars trying to actually warm up the tires by moving it left to right. Not quite sure if it's going to work in these conditions because it is absolutely frigid and can land up with a bit of a problem. Nicholas Porras hoping that he can get at the top of the golds. Will be looking to try and move his way up through the order. We've seen great consistency come out of him over the past couple of races, but let's see if he'll be able to do it again. Mahayath Musa tagging up right behind him is going to be getting let by, so we will see how it goes. But going and throwing the car around, you can see the tail snapping underneath him as he fights left and right to keep it all in check. We're going to go to the helmet cam. You could just see how much steering input, absolutely wild, of trying to stay on the power in fourth gear as it is slick as all can be out there. There is more grease on this circuit at the moment than anywhere with the grease lightning. So more oil, more rain coming to the surface, going to make those apexes absolutely deadly. You're going to have to work on high TC, high ABS, and just taking a gentle run on the way through to see if you can put that lap in. A couple of drivers just not able to get it done and dusted as yet. Nicholas Porras being one of the drivers trying to push his way through. Chris Wall, Nicholas Kolob trying to get a little bit more of a climb, and David Roth a little bit further back trying to also stand on the gas as he makes his way around the circuit. Martin Spritzer trying to get a little bit of time. Christoph Peterson getting back into the pits and having to get out once again. Patrick Bars, Teddy Blonder, Dave Young, Camille Hassan, all needing to get themselves sorted out before they go out and racing once again. So really trying their hand in things, but let's bring up some of the sounds because it's the sights and sounds of what we love here in the world of ERA. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you are absolutely excited. There is 20 cars out on track, championships won and lost on the circuit, and it is all on the cards. Christoph Peterson needs to ensure he stays ahead of Mahayath Musa come hell or high water at this point. Martin Spritzer leading the top of the charge. Flo Scub into second place. 137 was the fastest. Mahayath Musa puts himself into second place. 137.2. Chris Wall into third. Sean Skitter into fourth. Nicholas Porras into fifth. Sixth place. Flo Scub, Nico Lawrence, and then Lucas Kolob trying to make his way up through the order. And Ike Sky looking to put a time on the board. His last lap time he did was a 1:38, but it was due to an off-track that cost him time there. On Spitzer looking to try and improve his last lap time, but keep an eye on Mahayath Musa. 0.2 up on the rest of the field. Is giving it everything he's got. Fighting for the opportunity here to move his way up through the order, but Ernest Lumbriggs in the Rusties looking to stand at the top of the running. It's going to be a wild one. It's going to be a crazy one. As he slides his way through, we saw what this Ferrari was able to do as they battle their way through around the track, trying to find any inherent little bit of grip at the moment. So everyone needing to see where they can get that little bit run out around the circuit. And we're going to be keeping a very close on it. Ernest Lumbriggs at the moment 0.8 up on the rest of the field. In the Lightning McQueen colors is really, really fighting it out as they make their way through. So a bit of a wild one. It's going to be an interesting race nonetheless for all our drivers to push the limits of what they can do. So as they make their way around the track, we're going to keep a very close eye on each of the running orders and see who will be able to get that little bit of a run up the road. As the drivers try and find that little bit of grip, trying to see where on earth it's going to come from. Glenn Smith up into second place, Scub into third, first to the AMs, and Christoph Peterson putting himself only into second place, first of our diamonds, and he's going to have to really keep an eye on Matthias Musa down in 7th position. So not ideal runs there, but Ernest Lundbriggs, part of our diamond, part of our platinums, is on a proper charge at the moment, not hanging about, which is quite an interesting one for him because he's managed to just claw his way up. He won the last race, and let's see if he'll be able to do it again in these very precarious conditions, as we do see Christoph Peterson, our season 10 champion, sliding the car around. Glenn Smith trying to make up that little bit of time, lying in third. 4th place is Flo Scub, along with David Roth in 5th. Nicholas Porras going and running in 7th position, loses out. Glenn Smith going up into 4th. Matthias Musa going and finishing out in 3rd at the moment, as they fight their way around the track. Christoph Peterson 1.1 seconds up on the field, needs to try and keep us all going at the moment, as the Rooster Tail kicking off the back of that Honda, really going and lighting it up, trying to get any bit of speed possible at this point. Loses out to Glenn Smith, who jumps up into 2nd place. This is going to be a wild one, and Ernest Lundbriggs still there, out in 1st place, but Christoph Peterson looking to get it down into the 34s. If he carries on this pace, 1.2 seconds up on the rest of the field, is it going to be enough to jump him up? Yes, it is. 1:35.047. Absolutely mental time posted by him. 2nd at the moment is Lundbriggs. Glenn Smith in 3rd. 4th place is Matthias Musa. He's 0.4 up on his last lap time, but Chris Wall also 0.4 up on his personal best, trying to get that little bit more of a run as they fight to find any grip. Patrick Biles currently up 0.8 of a second. Teddy Blonder up 1.5 seconds on his personal best, so he's really come alive at this point, trying to get the car all sorted out and see where he's going to end up by the end of this race. It is going to be a wild one, because key positioning for the start of this race is going to be needed. This circuit does not lend itself to great side-by-side action because of how tight the circuit becomes in the dry, but in the wet, where you're barreling for grip and it's all about precision, the last thing you want to do is be going and lining yourself up side by side. So 1st place is key here to get yourself also out of the spray, because that is going to be a monstrous one to deal with as it all gets kicked up. So a wild race indeed is on the way, and we'll see how the drivers are going to be fighting their way up through the order on the way through. Our drivers really focusing on what they need to do to get there. So to the top, Christoph Peterson trying to keep ahead of Ernest Lundbriggs, who came out of nowhere. The upstart that has really gone and changed out the entire race scene, looking to go and usurp the leader. Unfortunately, he did go and lose out a bit of time on that lap. He's going to have to try and just get it all back together. But we do see the BMW of Patrick Biles trying to get himself back up and running, waiting for the cars to come on by before he can restart his lap. Matthias Musa down into 2nd place. Ernest Lundbriggs up into 3rd. So Lundbriggs trying everything he can at the moment to really get that little bit more pace. He's leading out his class, and so it's going to be a wild one because Glenn Smith, lying in 5th place, is going to chase him down, and Lucas Kolob in 7th position will be trying to move his way up through the order. Not going to stick around at the moment to lose out to any bit of run. Sean Skitter hoping that he can move out of that 8th place spot. Really on the charge. Wants to get behind Teddy Blonder as quick as he can, because at the moment he is running at the last of his class, the Platinum class, or the Diamond class at the moment. So he's last to the Diamonds. And then Glenn Smith now running top of the Platinum class, with Ernest Lumbriggs now in 2nd place. Lucas Kolob running in 3rd of his class as they charge their way through. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left of the running here. Christoph Peterson onto the charge, trying to make his way up through the order. And it is going to be an absolutely mental game here. 0.4 of a second up. He is going faster and faster as they make their way through the order, trying to see where they can get that little bit more of a run, and they get through the charge. So wild stuff for the remaining. So, Christoph Peterson looking to stay ahead at the moment. 0.4 of a second. Mahath Musa running in 2nd place. Ernest Lumbriggs down into 3rd. Glenn Smith on the charge. Can he pick up the pace to stay within the fight here? Stay within that top 4. Chris Wall is going to be running in 4th at the moment. He is leading out for the Aston Martins and looking to chase down his teammate of Peterson. Hasn't got Paul Fenter with him going and chasing him, but it's going to be a proper run all the way through. And yeah, we do have a little bit of a microphone, little tap outs on the microphone, just well getting all sorted out as they get their way around the track. So going to be a wild race indeed. And now it is going to be an absolute charge. Glenn Smith running in 2nd. But we are starting to see a bit of a drop. So Christoph Peterson, Glenn Smith, Mahath Musa in 3rd. Ernest Lumbriggs, followed by Chris Wall, Nicholas Porras, Camille Ellison, Teddy Blonder, Christoph Rolutsky, Lucas Kolob, Nico Lawrence, Sean Skitter, Lewis Knight, Flo Scubb, David Roth, Martin Spritzer, Ike Sky, Patrick Biles, Blake Moore, and Dave Young rounding out our field. Blake currently in the Mustang, going and throwing the car around. And, well, pretty much the tag says it all. So, Blake Moore going and losing out the car. Not enjoying the run at all. It's going to be a wild run as they battle it out. So, it is going to be a challenge for it. And Blake Moore, one of the drivers that's been battling with Assetto Corsa Competizione as they fight their way on. Mahath Musa lying in 3rd. Looks like he has conceded this round. Glenn Smith will be holding that 2nd place at the moment as Sean Skitter. But we did see Martin Spritzer in the Lamborghini get a snap as he tried coming out of the pit box. Drivers really hoping to find any way to get through. It's going to be an absolute change of pace as they make the running order. So Christoph Peterson leading out that charge. David Roth in 2nd place. Glenn Smith running in 3rd. Mahath Musa down into 4th place. Sean Skitter into 5th. But I can promise you this rain is going to be detrimental for the drivers because that rooster tail that kicks up as the drivers go through. Ernest Lumbriggs, who was the fastest, now down into 8th place as he tries to go and battle out Glenn Smith, who's looking to take the championship, will need to go and claw his way through. So our drivers getting that little bit more run as we do see Lumbriggs moving out of the way. He's going to retire it out of the session as it's the end of qualifying. And a couple of drivers still trying to get a time in. Christoph Peterson needing to take off 0.2. David Roth in 2nd place. Glenn Smith running in 3rd is doing a fantastic job. But I do want to point out, we've got so far our diamond, followed by gold, followed by platinum, in that order, but yet Platinum is the second highest class. But it shows that these drivers, despite being in different classes, are still pushing the limits, and they do have a unique set of skills that can move them up through the order. As Glenn Smith jumps himself up into second place, David Roth in third, trying to get that little bit of momentum. Is it going to be enough for him? We do see how the pit lane darts off early on. David Roth comes across the line. He's only able to get third place. Will Mahath must be able to? No, he's going to be waiting in pits. And we have got Krzysztof Rolotsky out on circuit, trying to make up a little bit of time in the 72, and he's only able to get that 10th place. So absolutely wild one for our qualifying. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope you're excited, as we will be going and looking at our racing very, very shortly here at a very rainy Donington Park. And I hope you got your umbrellas, because, man, oh man, we're in for a difficult run for our drivers to really get their way through. This is going to be a close call for many of our drivers as they fight their way through. And championships online. Remember, Chris, the likes of Christoph Peterson will look to be at the top of the charts. He needs to finish no less than third place if Mahath Musa is in first. Mahath Musa, lying in fifth at the moment, will be battling it out. He's got Sean Skitzer behind him, and Teddy Blondo, who's doing a fantastic job at the moment, puts himself into fourth place, second in class. Glenn Smith, though, has been the driver that definitely I want to keep an eye out for. Very consistent in the 2ID Ferrari 296, and has managed to move his way up through the order quite a bit, and seems to be quite a specialist when it comes to wet weather racing. We've seen it in the past where he's able to move his way up through the order and do a great job out there. Scott Reynolds actually saying, well done to David, absolutely rapid. Well, that is definitely the case. I mean, he got that third place and is on a rapid charge. So let's see if he'll be able to make that a little bit more time, as David Roth hoping that he can put some points towards the championship and still lay into the fight at the moment. He's lying fifth in the championship for the gold class, and he is on 62 points. Flo Scup is running on 65 points ahead of him, and Ike Sky running 66 points. And then Reynolds, who we just saw going and chatting in the grandstands, he's going to be out of this race. He's running in second place. So it's going to be a wild one. Let's see how it's going to go as our drivers will start to line on the grid. But a couple of things we've also got to go and remember is success penalties coming into play. Yes, you heard me right. Success penalties. What is a success penalty? Well, let's take you through what a success penalty is. At the moment, you're starting to see times coming in. 15 seconds added onto the time. That is success penalty. The better you've done, you get a success penalty. That is a time that you have to serve during the pit stop to ensure that you can stay into the mix. And you'll have to serve that on your pit stop. Thankfully, 2 pit stops here is going to be done. 1 hour and 30 minutes of racing. Mahath Musa will also be serving a success penalty, as he needs to try and get that done and dusted. So Krzysztof Peterson, 5 seconds. Glenn Smith at the moment nothing. Mahath Musa sitting with 15 seconds. And then we've got Hassan, who is way down the order a little bit. He's down into 13th. He's also got 15 seconds. Lumbrix has got 15 seconds. Glenn Smith getting 10 seconds. So a couple of the drivers are going to have to really think out of the box here. What are they going to do? How are they going to be able to move their way up through the order? What's going to be the rapid decision? What's the rapid ideas to go and fight it out? Peterson with 5 seconds is going to be a pretty easy run in and out of the pits, unless something goes wrong. So drivers are going to have to really think out of the box here of what they're looking to do. So Peterson in the little Honda has got a lot of hard work ahead of him, with Glenn Smith running in second place and first of our diamond class, our platinum class, with David Roth is fighting it out in the gold class, first in his class at the moment on the grid, and looking to usurp the field to fight it out for the championship. Teddy Blonder joining us for the first time out on the grid, along with Mahath Musa in second place of the diamond championship. So he needs to get ahead of Krzysztof Peterson early on. Sean Skitzer hoping that he can put that to bed and not go and lose out a bit of time. The rain's still absolutely bucketing down here at Donington Park. And we did say to the drivers that this is going to be a mental race. Who knows who's going to get the climb here? Who's going to be able to stand on the top? Who's going to be that front runner come the end of the race? Many ideas are going to be had. Who's going to be able to get that run is going to be the challenging fight. So 1 minute and 10 seconds. Cars on jacks. Drivers at the ready. Teams getting excited. Holding umbrellas out in the pits and out there in the virtual grandstands. Good to have you guys here. Welcome to Evolution Racing Academy. And it is an absolutely wild time, as this is the final race of the season. It's all or nothing for our drivers as they look to get running very shortly. And you can just see the mountains of GT3 cars poised at the ready. Stephen Milano, James, even putting a shout out and saying, good luck, chaps. Have fun on this very intense circuit as we get ready to rock and roll. Our marshals holding the cars back, telling everyone, all right, lights on, because it's going to get a little bit dark here. You want to turn the lights on. You want to put your rain lights on just to become more visible out on track. 20 cars will be starting the server 1. Christoph Peterson looking to take the charge. And Glenn Smith in second place for the 2ID will be looking to get that perfect run. Will the usurp happen here today? Well, we're about to find out, folks. It's going to be absolutely mad here at ERA. So as they make their way around round 7, the final round, it has been a close championship. But let's go through our running order for the final time for season 11, folks. This is going to be it. So Christoph Peterson out in first place, has got all on the cards here to ensure he stays in the fight. How is he going to be able to retain this championship? And our season 10 winner has to deal with the likes of Glenn Smith in second place. David Roth lying in third, looking to get that charge in the Martini Colors. Teddy Blonder in fourth. Sean Skitter running in fifth place, followed by Mahayath Musa in the BMW M4 GT3, needing to get a lot closer to Christoph Peterson. Flo Scub looking to score valuable points at the moment. In 7th, 8th, Ernest Lundbriggs, Chris Wall, along with Rolutsky, running in 10th. Nicholas Boris in 11th, Sky in 12th, 13th place, Camille Hassan, Lucas Collab in 14th, 15th is Nico Lawrence, followed by Lewis Knight, Martin Spritzer, Patrick Bowles, along with Blake Moore and Dave Young, rounding out our field here for the final race, round 7 of the ERA Sunday Championship, season 11. Going to be all or nothing for these drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, start getting excited. Start getting wild. This is going to be a hectic race. Peterson with the 5 seconds that he's going to have to serve on his first pit stop, along with Glenn Smith with 10 seconds. 2 pit stops mandatory for the drivers. Don't expect to see tires being swapped around too much here because of the nature of the circuit, along with wet conditions as they made their way through the hairpin. Tensions starting to rise. Drivers starting to figure out where they need to be. They'll slow the cars up 70 kilometers an hour and sit within a bar. No faster, no slower than 70 kilometers an hour. Otherwise, you will be penalized. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready as we go. Lights on, lights on, lights on. And lights off. We're going racing as our drivers make their way down, shooting down into turn 1. Christoph Peterson getting the easy win there. Oh, we do see Ernest Lundbriggs going into the side of one of the cars, losing out a little bit of drive. Nicholas Porras, though, goes into a little bit onto Sean Skitter by the looks of it. Lundbriggs dropping down the order. Mahiath Musa trying to hang there. Teddy Blonder doing a great job as Sean Skitter up on the inside of Flo Scub. Flo's going to try to come back at him. Little bit of a nudge. Nose to tail on the back of the two. Flo Scub now trying to get a little bit away as he gets caught up behind the little battle. Unfortunately, Ketty getting taken out there. But Teddy Blonder going and losing out that little bit of time. Flo Scub gets past. Ernest Lundbriggs, though, gets a bit of contact. Chris Wall, it goes into it. Oh, it is a just carnage at the back. Nico Lawrence is involved. And Martin Spritzer is involved. That is pretty much a lot of drivers, unfortunately, out of the running for the first start. Let's go to the Headicam and try and take a look. So we are watching the number 4 of Chris Wall in the Aston Martin. He's got Ernest Lundbriggs in the Ferrari, so he goes out on the dirt, touches Ernest Lundbriggs, turns around, and immediately, having the entire field playing bumper cars to him. And that is pretty much a lot of drivers sustaining a fair amount of damage off the start of the run. But Peterson's off to a great start. He's pulled away. Glenn Smith currently in second place, 1.5 seconds back. David Roth along with Mahiath Musa. Sean Skitter got away a little bit scathed on that one. And Flo Scub, Ernest Lundbriggs, Ike Sky, who had a first little bit of contact. Nothing too bad. Camilo's son, though, as we do see, there's Teddy Blonder first into the pits. Try and get that pit stop done. Martin Spritzer diving into the pits as well to repair his car. And Christoph Rolotsky doing a great job. But take a look at Blake Moore. Got past Nico Lawrence. Now Nico's going to try and come back at him. Nicholas Porras trying to get that little bit of drive in the Aston Martin. Sees Lawrence up on the inside looking to try and join the party. 3 wide. Didn't quite work out there. As Lawrence goes and taps off the gas. Nicholas Porras loses out a little bit of drive. And suddenly Lucas Kolab, who was also part of that earlier carnage, is trying to just drive it through. Patrick Bells along with Chris Wall, who started out with that little ping pong effect. Dave Young getting caught up. Lewis Knight, but Mon Spritzer, Teddy Blonder are the drivers that landed up with the biggest problem there. Nicholas Porras trying to get onto the back of Nico Lawrence. Can't quite get the pass done in his yes. And Lucas all over the back of him, hunting him down, looking left, looking right, trying to see where can he get that little bit of an advantage into the toe. Slipstreaming as they make their way down towards the hairpin. Middle of the track, though. Nicholas not going to back down from the fight. Forces Lucas to switch around. Did touch the curbing and gets an absolutely loss of traction. Oh, that's Camilo's son, though, who has lost out the rear and now dropping down the order, the 872. Not having an easy time out there. Let's take a look what happened to him. I do think that rear kicked out as he was fighting his way through. It's going to be a proper run through the order. And, oh, man, just had the rear kick out. Thankfully, not into any of the walls, but lost out a lot of drive as he has to try and figure out what to do. Blake Moore, Nico Lawrence trying to come back at him. Nicholas Porras doing everything he can. He's got Lucas Kolab and Patrick getting past Chris Walton without too much of a problem there with the BMW. Sinks it deep into the corner, gets it done. Chris Wall going to come back at him, though. Looks for the inside line, side by side against the BMW. Gets a pass done and dusted. Dave Young looking to try and capitalize on that effort as well. Lucas Kolab just ahead of them, sees Porras trying to give it everything he's got. Now, unfortunately, his view, this is what he's seeing from his helmet. Nicholas Porras having Lawrence going and throwing a huge amount of dirt, well, a huge amount of the spray at him, doing everything he can as they fight their way through. Looks for the inside line, though, seeing that a mistake was had. Tries to go for the inside line, couldn't quite get it done. Late on the brakes, tries to bring it back, sliding out and running his way through. And suddenly, Lucas Kolab onto the back of him, doing everything he can. Looks for the inside line. Can't get past as yet. Nicholas keeping it absolutely poised for a bit of defense there. Onto the brakes as late as he can. Couldn't quite get that pass done. Patrick dealing with Dave Young and Lewis Knight on the back of him, as we do have Chris Wall into the pits. So Chris Wall has dived into the pits. Something's gone on with that car. Dave Young going to go side by side next to Patrick at the moment. And fights for it. Couldn't quite get it all done at the hairpin. Now has to deal with the race at hand. But unfortunately for the number 4, down into the pits. So let's actually take a look what happened to Chris Wall, because he lost out a lot of time. And now I see him sitting in the pits, though, as they fight their way through. And it's going to be a proper run. It's going to be a great battle, and oh man, he just landed up losing that rear and lost out a little bit of time. So drivers losing out a little bit of pace to them, seeing where can they get by. Dave Young all over Patrick at the moment. Patrick keeping a very solid effort, fighting his way through. And oh no, Patrick's lost the rear. He's been able to keep it out of the wall, but he's lost the rear. Lewis Knight onto the back of likes of Dave Young doing a great job there. But Blake Moore, whose literally tag is I hate this game, and he is still going out there. So I think the hate has turned into a love for the race as he is chasing down Nico Lawrence just ahead of him, fighting out for that top 10 as they claw their way through. It's going to be a wild run, that is for certain, for Blake Moore, trying to overcome some very big difficulties during the course of this year. And he has Nicholas Porras try to go around the outside, loses out that little bit of drive, and now Blake Moore not able to get the power down. He gets swamped by Nicholas Porras, and Lucas Colab trying to come back at him. Blake Moore going defensive, holds the inside line, trying to keep it all together. Can he get the power down enough? Because he's now got Lucas onto him. He's trying to pull it back. Nicholas gets it done, sweeps across the nose. Lucas goes and ties himself up on the outside, following the likes of Porras, who runs out wide. Blake Moore with a beautiful cut tries to keep himself going in the three-way battle for 11th, 12th, and 13th position. This is our closest fight on track at the moment, but Porras lost out a lot of time here, and suddenly Lucas Colab all over the back of Blake Moore, trying to push his way through and doing everything he can, hanging on to the tail there of the Mustang. The two V8s roaring to life, chasing each other down, as we do see the 872. There's Camille Hassan. Oh man, he's had a nightmare of an effort at the moment, but only two cars have been able to get that mandatory pit stop done and dusted. Well, first of the mandatory pit stops, and that is Blonder and Spitzer from earlier damage in the race. So our drivers hoping that they can keep the moment on it going. Nicholas not getting into a fright. Oh, as we see Lucas getting that rear, stepping out, under braking as he tries to keep it in check. Blake Moore doing everything he can. He goes and runs out a little bit wide, goes and actually lets Lucas by. Lucas outbrakes himself, so Blake Moore says thank you very much. He gets past, and is Nicholas going to have enough drive though? Getting up on the outside, doing everything he can, fighting his way through. Blake Moore stuck on the outside, but Lucas getting the pass done. Blake Moore down the order. These three are having an absolute ding-dong battle, but let's go up through the running order, because we do see Mahath Musa has closed up the gap to David Roth at the moment. David trying to keep up the momentum as they fight their way through. This is going to be an absolute challenge at the moment. David Roth running in third, needs to battle it out. Mahath Musa trying to gain some ground, because remember, the championship is the problem here. Christoph Peterson still needs to pit, but he's only going to pit for 5 seconds, and he's doing 132s in a very wet track at the moment. So he's on a proper stonking charge. But Ernest Lundbriggs, who fell back a little bit earlier in the race, made up some time. He's up into 6th place as it stands. Long race though, difficult conditions. Unfortunately, we've had 2 retirements so far in this race. So 18 cars left out on track. Championship still alive. Let me remind you, the championships, Christoph Peterson is in 1st place of the Diamond Championship, with Mahath Musa in 2nd place. Their 3rd place, Darius, is not even there racing. Michael Castro, who's in 4th, is not racing, but that gives opportunity for Sean Skitter, who's running 5th in the championship, to score valuable points, but he has to finish ahead of Chris Wall, who was racing, but unfortunately looks like they've retired that Aston Martin. So Chris Wall has lost out a little bit of run there, but Sean Skitter has an opportunity to pull himself up into 4th place and possibly into 3rd if he can do well here tonight as he's on his charge through. Glenn Smith running in 2nd place for our Platinums at the moment, doing a phenomenal job out there. He is currently leading the charge in the championship, with Nico Loris running 2nd in the championship. So Nico Loris, who can't even see. I think he's one of the cars that went out, and Camille's son, who is at the bottom of the track. But we do see Sky moving out of the way, Porus going and moving out of the way from Lewis Knight. So really been a wild run for our drivers. But for our gold, Lewis Knight leading the championship is in a world of hurt as it stands, because Sky, who runs in second place, running in third place, is currently in 11th. He's way up the order, and the likes of Scott Reynolds, unfortunately not on the track here tonight, will be losing out that second place on the way through. So Myers Musa trying to go late on the brakes, looks for the inside line, can't get that pass done and dusted just as yet. Will have to carry the momentum through, really doing everything he can. David keeping up a solid defense at the moment, and David, who is a part of our gold division, is fighting it out with one of our fastest divisions. Myers Musa outbrakes himself into turn one, dives out the way to try and not get into the back of David Roth on there. Great to keep it out of the back of the car, but has lost out a significant amount of time to David Roth, and that BMW just not so happy. That has allowed Sean Skitzer to close up the distance, but he immediately starts closing up a bit of time onto the back of David Roth. So every time he tries to make a pass, David not wanting to give up the fight. Now Myers Musa forced to take the outside line, couldn't get it all done and dusted. You can see that BMW sliding, skating around, trying to find any bit of grip at the moment. Well, the Ferrari ahead of him, the 488 Evo Ferrari, that was the second generation of Ferrari that came out here on Assetto Corsa Competizione before ultimately being retired by the 296, while the 488 is keeping a masterful drive. Last time we even spoke to Darius, he said that's one car you won't want to count out in a wet race. The 488 is an absolute beast, and while we're going to see it out on track, Glenn Smith running in the 296 that replaced it is running in second place, but not too far up the road. He's 2.6 seconds away from Roth and Myers Musa, who are chasing each other down. And while these two are fighting it out, take a look who's behind. Sean Skitzer and Ernest Lundbriggs have caught up the drive and now looking to stay in for the fight here as they claw their way through. Myers Musa needs to go for a late braking maneuver, dives to the inside line. Is it going to be enough though? Roth gives him the little bit of room, and that's all that Myers Musa needed to keep up the drive. So well done to Myers Musa to get that pass done. Well done to David Roth on a stellar defense, just being a brick wall. Now he needs to keep it just in check as Sean Skitzer is going to close up the gap to him. He's amongst all the platinum, the diamond drivers, so he doesn't really have to put a big fight here as won the golds. He has to keep an eye where Flo Scum is. He's running in 7th position. So Flo needs to try and isolate where is he losing a bit of time. Nico Lawrence, who I want to say, thought was one of our retirements, isn't one of our retirements. The two AMGs are fighting out. Lucas Collab doing everything he can to try and close up that gap as fast as possible. As we do take a look at Nico Lawrence, you can see a little bit of spray kicking up, the windscreen wipers going mad, and there is the rooster tail coming off the back of his car into the face of Lucas, who's trying to not only get past, but just to go and see where his brake markers are. That's constantly changing around him as they fight their way through. Nico Lawrence onto the brakes, trying to keep it nice and gingerly, and bounces it over the curbs, losing out the rear just a fraction as we cut across to Lucas Collab, who looks a little bit more centered towards it. On to our sharp running order, our top 6. And this is Ernest Lundbriggs. Remember, his 15-second penalty, which is a success penalty. He won the race last time. He's done a great job there. Camille's son, unfortunately, parked out into the dirt, trying to get the car going, and looks like he has got the car back to the pits. He's towed it back to pits. So his son, unfortunately, going and towing the car back to pits. What does that mean for the championship? Well, he's going to have to really keep it in, and unfortunately, a detriment has now happened. Camille's son, who is running 3rd in the championship, has now gone and thrown in the towel. He's retired the car, and that is going to all play into the favor for Nico Lawrence at the moment, because, well, not Nico Lawrence, Lucas Collab, who's running in 5th place, has gotten rid of the likes, well, he's away from his son. because Hassan's now retired the car, but he's also faster than Spritzer, who is down in 17th position. So this may be the opportunity he's needing to get into third place. He's on 52 points, and both Hassan and Spritzer were on 63. So all they need to do was just finish, just get across the line to score valuable points, and it looks like it may be a problem for both of them. Nico Lawrence, on the other hand, is going to be smiling at this. He's second in the championship and is in a monster run. So Nico Lawrence needs to close up the gap to Glenn Smith, who is running in second place at the moment. So changes are happening, and his drivers are throwing in the towel here at the final round here at Donington. This is going to be a wild one in terms of points calculation. Who's going to be able to get that little bit of a climb? Who's going to be able to send it to the top of the order? And who will stand victorious come the end of the race? It's going to be a wild run, and we've only crossing the threshold so far of 16 minutes of the race completed. So it's Christoph Peterson out in first place, Glenn Smith in second place, Mahyth Musa running in third, David Roth in fourth, fifth place Sean Skitter, and Ernest Lundbriggs trying to give it everything he's got at the moment as they chase their way down. Lundbriggs trying to hope that he can stay onto the back. Flos Cub is in 7th position, Christoph Rulotsky along with Lucas Collop, Nico Lawrence, Alex Sky, Dave Young, Blake Moore in 13th, keeping ahead of Nicholas Porras. In 14th, 15th, Lewis Knight, Patrick Bowles, and Martin Spritzer, who was part of that earlier collision, is still circulating. So to Martin, a big well done to you for keeping on going despite having your whole front end knocked in from an accident a little bit early on. Oh, Blake Moore into the dirt though, loses out that rear and losing out a bit of positions. Will drop down into 15th. Where is Patrick out on track? I think Patrick a little bit too far back to be able to get past Blake Moore, but Lewis Knight has definitely shot his way through the order. So, great racing so far as Blake Moore trying to rejoin the circuit behind as once again dives off into the dirt and is battling with the Mustang. Mahyth Musa up into third place, going to be starting to wish a little bit of ill on Christoph Peterson, hoping that he will fall off the circuit. But now take a look. Christoph Peterson's got 5 seconds that he needs to serve. Glenn Smith has got 10 seconds. Mahyth Musa has got 15. On their pit stop, they will have to serve those success penalties that's handed out there. Lundbriggs with 15 seconds penalty, Scub with 15 seconds, Nico Lawrence with 5, and Porras with 10 seconds. So our drivers are needing to really figure out what is going to be the climb here. David Roth doing everything he can. Sean Skitter losing out the drive. Suddenly has Ernest Lundbriggs closing up. Going to go late on the brakes. Tried to go for the inside line. And now this is going to be a bit of a challenge here. Lundbriggs, who's racing in the Platinum class, is versing one of our Diamond drivers, Sean Skitter, who doesn't want to lose track of Mahyth Musa at the moment, but also going and fighting it out with the likes of David Roth ahead of him. He's going to have to be very cautious as he makes his way through. Dips it on the dirt though, bounces around. Here comes Lundbriggs, pushes him out to the fringes of the circuit to try and hold that inside line. Lundbriggs doing everything he can. Sean Skitter overcooked it though, goes and runs out wide. Lundbriggs retaking the position. Sean Skitter trying to drag race him. Unfortunately, won't have the toe there. Tried to go and fight it out. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite the game that it was being played. Comes off the throttle. So far, fastest lap time of the race is set by Christoph Peterson, a 132.555. Glenn Smith running in second place with a 133.3. Mahyth Musa running in third as he tries to chase down that gap to Glenn Smith. At the moment, he is in a race of note to try and get just a bit closer. If he can close up to Christoph Peterson, he will try and get that 15 seconds out of the way. We got 2 mandatory pit stops that need to be done. If you lose out not doing those mandatory pit stops, you could sit with 180 seconds added to your time at the end, and that is just a kick in the chest. Mahyth Musa has actually experienced that once before at Monza in a different championship. Alex Sky chasing down Nico Lawrence, goes around the outside. Nico's not going to back down. Sky forced out to the fringes there, tries to bring it back and does so. Nico Lawrence giving him that little bit of room, saying, okay, listen, I'm going to try my best, but if I can't put the fight up, I'm going to wait it out. You're not my challenge here. I need to get closer to Kolb and Rulotsky ahead at the moment, and both of them are on a monumental charge. I've got 5 seconds to also throw out in my run as well. So it's not going to be an easy time. So hopefully he can utilize the little Lexus, the V8 power from the Lexus, that small block Lexus, trying to carry the likes of Nico Loris around. Ernest Lundbriggs onto the back of David Roth, trying to fight his way through. David Roth doing everything he can to just defend. Lundbriggs giving a quick flash, saying, listen, buddy, you need to mind out the way just a little bit for me, please. Otherwise, we're going to have a bit of a problem here. And Matthias Musa is onto the back of Glenn Smith. So it is now heating up at the sharp end of the field versus the back end of the field. Glenn Smith doing everything he can to defend and is going and representing the Platinums at the moment, doing a fantastic job. But Matthias Musa, part of our Diamonds, looking to really close it up as quick as he can. David Roth, who's part of our Gold division, is dealing with Lundbriggs at him, chasing him down, trying to figure out where he can get past. There is no ease for Rusties here. And David Roth in the number 95 tries everything he can to keep it onto the back of the Martini Racing. David Roth, who goes late on the brakes, tries to bring it back, runs out wide. Lundbriggs up on the inside. They're going to go side by side. Both 488 Evo GT3s get past, and Lundbriggs getting that pass done and dusted. Roth losing out a little bit of time. We'll suddenly see in the mirror Sean Skitter, but late on the brakes as Roth nearly outbrakes himself into the corner. And now he has actually outbraked himself, and that's allowed Sean Skitter to come into play with the McLaren. And the 720S Evo now putting the power down, chasing down that inside line, gets it beautifully done. Oh, but he overcooks it again in the hairpin. Sean Skitter, his Achilles heel coming into play, sweeps across the nose of Flo Scub. Matthias Musa getting the pass past Glenn Smith at the moment as they try and make their way through. So Sean Skitter centered into the corner again, lost out a little bit of drive, now has Flo trying to come back at him. Flo needs to get to David Roth at the moment, and Sean Skitter is the car in the way. So Sean Skitter's got to be either a little bit more confident in his driving, or maybe, just maybe, possibly, he needs to just try and give Flo that little bit of a run to try and bring him a bit closer to Roth. Let the two of them fight it out and then try and close up the gap to Matthias Musa ahead. So Sean Skitter needs to maybe just think that little bit of momentum. What's going to happen here? There's two different classes that are racing around me. They're in the gold. My car's getting a little bit unsteady. Where's it going to be? And as the fuel starts to taper off, it's going to be a bit of a problem. Nico Lawrence is into the pits now, so he's getting himself sorted as Tim giving us a shot from in the pits. So Nico Lawrence into the pits, loses out to Blake Moore and Lewis Knight. So Blake Moore and Lewis Knight, they're going to continue the drive, but that is going to then put two cars back onto the main running for our pit stops. And that's going to be Martin Spitzer, who early on had to repair a bit of damage. He spent quite a bit of time in the pits. Flo Scub doing everything he can to try and close up onto the back of Sean Skitter at the moment. Can't get the pass done as yet. Looks to the inside line. Sean Skitter defending that inside line as Flo now having to try and battle it around the outside. But has Sean Skitter overcooked it again? Nope, not this time. He's got it absolutely correct. And that McLaren just keeping ahead of the Aston Martin. Flo's going to be a little bit frustrated now. He's just going to have to get a little bit more cautious. Maybe just saying, hey, bud, just keep going. I'm going to pull myself along a little bit and we'll catch up to David Roth. But you need to really keep it focused here. No late dives, no late moves. Don't swing across the nose. Maybe that's the way to do it, as Flo trying to utilize as much of the circuit as possible, running over the painted line. So, and that is going to slide the car out quite a bit and land up with a bit of a problem. So not an easy time for our drivers out there. They are trying to push the boundaries of what can they do, how can they fight it out as they claw their way, looking for any sort of victories. But it's 1 hour and 30 minutes worth of racing here at ERA, and with two mandatory pit stops. Donington Park, round 7, final round, and it's come to this as we see Lewis Knight is also into the pit, so he's trying to get that pit stop done and dusted to get ahead of Martin Spritzer. Nico Lawrence, though, out on track, trying to do everything he can, as we do see Flo Scub try to look for the inside of Sean Skitter, so got caught out there. A bit of a collision between Skitter, Scub and Lawrence on the run through, and I think that was because we suddenly had Lawrence coming out of the pits, and it made a little bit of a difficult time for our drivers. So here's Lawrence. He came out of the pits, now keeping ahead. Sean Skitter chasing him down, getting a little bit squirrely, runs out a bit wide. Flo Scub in the Aston Martin behind. Sean Skitter closes up to Nico Lawrence, gives him a slight little bit of tap on the rear, both going off into the dirt. Skitzer tries to bring it back, and that's where the second tap comes in with Flo at the moment. Overcooking it just a fraction more, and Flo's starting to see that pressure, but also watching David Roth open up the distance little by little on the way through as they fight their way on. Mahath Musa in second place, 14 seconds behind Christoph Peterson. The little Honda doing a fantastic job out there, 14.3 seconds back. Mahath Musa followed by 2.6 seconds, Glenn Smith, and he is leading out the class. Has got Ernest Lundbriggs trying to close up that gap at a rate of knots. David Roth leading out the golds, has got Sean Skitzer onto the back of him, who's third of our diamond class at the moment, so he's on for some valuable points. He just needs to maintain it. Flo Scub running second of our golds. Then we have got Christoph Rolotsky. We haven't spoken too much about this car, and driver, the Hollow Knight, that has gone and garnered the love from the grandstand, saying, listen, they absolutely love the tribute to Hollow Knight, an indie game that really made it work. I mean, if you think about indie games that have really stolen the hearts of people and become that cult classic, Hollow Knight has to fall into it. Spelunky is the second of that, but Binding of Isaac, I mean, everyone knows the Binding of Isaac, a Flash game that then became more than that. So Binding of Isaac, Hollow Knight was the very intense story game that really tested one's thoughts and decisions of what needed to be done as an indie game. Flo Scub, though, pulls into the pits. That's going to release Sean Skitzer a little bit. Scub looks to try and get ahead of Martin Spritzer. Remember, Martin Spritzer was now part of the bar. He has completed his first pit stop. He now needs to get that second one out the way. Blake Moore into the pits. So Blake Moore has served his pit stop and will tumble down the order, finishing out, going into 17th at the moment. But Flo Scub still waiting to get back out, and that is going to be a detrimental run at the moment as we jump to the helicam. Flo Scub doing everything he can just to wait it out and be as patient as he can. Martin going to try and come back at him. Martin's a bit far back, so I think that Flo may have done enough to get it going. But Blake Moore, oh my heavens, in towards the dirt, and now just trying to reverse the car back. That is a Mustang that is looking properly second hand, waiting for the drivers. The number 46 going and losing out a lot of time. So let's take a look at what happened to Flo. Now, sorry, to Blake Moore in the Ford Mustang, hooking the curb, rear getting a little bit unsteady. Yeah, no, kept on the power. Then he was on the brakes, locked it up, and bang, into the wall. Not much you can do there. And it was just a passenger the whole way through. So not the easiest of runs for him. But Blake Moore's going to still try and stick it out till the end, which is absolutely, yeah, got to give you a hat off to the drivers that are going to be pushing their way out. So, Christoph Peterson in first, Mahath Musa in second, both needing to serve their times and both looking to get in the pits. But Flo Scub is our mark for everyone to see where things are going to go. He's down in 13th position, so for our drivers, they got to think a little bit there. Ernest Lundbriggs going off to Glenn Smith. Glenn has been on utter charge at the moment here at Donington, a little bit more comfortable in the car, but Lundbriggs trying to close up that gap as much as possible. Lundbriggs was that out-the-box driver that really went and changed up the entire game last race, and now right towards the end of the season is looking to put a hard charge on. Glenn Smith hoping that he can take the championship for the Diamonds. He needs to maintain his position. He needs to score big here today, as drivers have been dropping out around him, which does give him a little bit of breathing room. The noose around the neck slightly lightens up, but not by much though, as Lundbriggs doing everything he can to just try and close up that gap. Has got a bit of free air on the run, so that's going to help him out, as we do see Blake Moore into the wall again, and I think he is not having a fun time there. Gets the car towed back to pits. So number 46 having yet another off-track excursion. There's a damage on the car. He just can't steer the car at this point. I think he's starting to realize that little bit of a problem coming in. And, it just snapped underneath him. Bang into the wall once more. That's front suspension just calling enough at this point. And it gets himself towed back to pits. Absolutely heartbreaking. Just a season to forget for Blake Moore, as he tries everything he can to keep it going. But so far, Closest out on track is Ernest Lundbrix and Glenn Smith fighting out for position, not only in class, but also overall position. Christoph Peterson running 14.9 seconds, going 15 seconds. So he is opening that gap little by little to Mahath Musa as it stands. Mahath needing to try and do it. Remember, Mahath needs to get the win. Mahath needs a win, and he needs Christoph Peterson to finish in 4th place. That will be how the championship will change onto its head. For Sean Skitter, he needs to just maintain 3rd or higher, which he can. Regardless of what happens now, he is in 3rd place and can score valuable points for the championship to move his way up. Ernest Lundbrix, though, is the joker card in this. He is not fighting for the championship, but Glenn Smith is leading the championship. If Lundbrix goes and lands up pushing the likes of Smith into a mistake that could cost him positions to the likes of Lucas Kollab, he's going to have a huge issue on his championship running. So he's going to have to keep a consistent effort here. Both fighting in the same class, though, and both looking to push themselves that a little bit more, seeing where things could go. Then I've got to say, the 2 generations of Ferraris at the moment, the 296 ahead of the 488 Evo. I personally have to say the 488 Evo looks the best. Nicholas Porras into the pits. So he's into the pits, lying in 14th place, and will be exiting ahead of Lewis Knight, or trying to get ahead of Lewis Knight on the exit. And Lewis Knight dives up on the inside. Porras just couldn't get that pass done and dusted. Drops into 15th, and now is all over the back of Lewis Knight, who is sliding his way around. Porras needing to get a bit of heat into those tires, while the likes of Lewis Knight a little bit more comfortable on his set, but still needs to really keep on the train. And still, one thing I've got to add to it, Lewis Knight has done a pit stop, but didn't quite change tires. He actually landed up going in, he fixed a little bit of damage, 35.6, so it might have been a tire change there that cost him a bit of time. Sean Skitter, though, yellow flags for him, and oh no, Sean Skitter trying to turn the car around, just looking to get himself going, puts himself back onto the racing line, lost the tail end, and now dropping down the order overall. Thankfully in class, he is in a bit of a safe predicament. So let's take a look at what happened to the McLaren of Sean Skitter in the replay. Sean Skitter keeping it all together, did the rear kick out, runs over the curb, goes and just touches the grass, slip slides, side on with the Onco barrier. So there is going to be a bit of damage on that car, but he's able to keep it going. The main thing he needs to do is just keep cycling those laps. Just keep putting the laps in. Don't worry about lap times. You need to just focus on momentum and look to just keep it up, because you have an opportunity here to push yourself up through the order. Now here at ERA, we got to bring up about our championship. We do have drop rounds, that is for certain. And looking at who's done the drop rounds at the moment, Mahath Musa, he's got a drop round. He dropped at Barcelona, which was round 2, and Sean Skitter has drop round at Hungaroring, so he's lost that round. And now looking to try and score big here today. 3rd place on the cards can move him up ahead of Michael Castro and possibly onto the back of Darius if he can score enough in the bag. So wild in terms of the championship. Lucas Kollab now into the pits, and we do see the BMW of Patrick Bowles pulling into the pits as well. Nicholas Porras chasing down Lewis Knight, looks for the inside line, can't quite get that pass done and dusted as yet. Going to try and carry as much momentum through as they charge their way around the course. Everyone looking to really make their way through. 34 minutes of the race has been completed, ladies and gentlemen, and it is still a wild game through it all. Christoph Peterson, Mahath Musa, Glenn Smith in 3rd, has got Ernest Lundbrix running in 4th, David Roth running in 5th. 6th place is Christoph Rolotsky, Sean Skitter, Mike Sky, Dave Young, Lucas Kollab, Flo Scub, Martin Spritzer getting ahead of Patrick Bowles. So Martin getting that little bit more momentum and having a great run. Remember, this Lamborghini landed up with a smashed nose at the start of the race, so he needed a pit for damage. Patrick Bowles running in 13th. 14th is Lewis Knight, ahead of Nicholas Porras and Nico Lawrence rounding out our pack. 16 cars still going. So 16 cars still out on the track. Lost another one, unfortunately, another retirement, and that might have been Blake Moore. Yes, it is. Blake Moore, unfortunately, calling it quits with the car and losing out on that one. Detrimental, absolutely detrimental. And for the frustration that's gone on, I mean, it's been a season to absolutely forget. He's had nightmare runs in a endurance race. He landed up with a game freezing. He eventually finished. Like, well done, great stuff. But it just seems like this season has been the absolute pits for him at the moment. So the team are going to be re-looking at it. If I remember correctly, he had issues with his computer that was preventing him from getting that top run. Glenn Smith, though, running in third place, has got Ernest Lundbriggs onto the back of him. Remember, Glenn Smith has got 10 seconds he needs to serve in the pits, while Ernest Lundbriggs has got 15. But you can see the pit lane is a little bit of a tricky one to come through. You have to get off the throttle quite a bit to bring the nose in, or get quite a bit of rotation to throw yourself into the pits, as we do see Sean Skitter landing up, spun around. So the number 13 not having an easy time out there, losing out a little bit of control. This was a bit earlier on for him, and did the rear step out? Yes, it did, and he touched the grass. So this is the one we saw where he had that side-on impact into the wall and lost out a little bit of time. He had a second moment which we caught the little bit of it on the return. This is going into the hairpin, hard on the brakes, runs out a bit wide. Final corner, jumps. Sorry, not final corner. This is the S's. Runs into the grass, snapping left, right, brings it back. Sky says thank you very much, though. Gets that pass done and dusted without too much of a problem. Ernest Lundbriggs still chasing down Glenn Smith, doing everything he can to try and get that pass done. But Glenn Smith not backing down from the fight. Will looking to ensure his championship is solidly secured if he finishes out in first place in class. And Ernest Lundbriggs fighting in class can possibly put a dent in that one as they make their way through, because Glenn Smith needs to keep ahead of Nico Lawrence, who is down in 16th position at the moment. Camille Hassan running in third is out of the race, so he's going to be losing out that point. Mon Spritzer, who is running in 12th, as we do see Mahath Musa into the pits. So interesting move being done. Mahath Musa needs to keep ahead of Lucas Kolob at the moment. That is going to be the target, and Lucas is closing down at a rate of knots as he's beyond halfway on the circuit. Mahath Musa still sitting in the pits. We'll have to keep a very close eye on that battle. Lundbriggs now into third place with Glenn Smith into second, but Christoph Peterson will be trying to figure out on where is he going to get going here. How is he going to get that little bit more momentum? Lundbriggs doing just enough to hold on to Glenn Smith, but just can't get the power down enough to break away. Mahath Musa coming out into 7th position, though, and just ahead of Dave Young. So Dave Young would be radioing on ahead to Christoph Peterson and to the rest of the team, saying, listen, guys, it's just exited the pits. He's going to keep on going here. It's going to make life a little bit more interesting. You need to get going. So Dave Young going to be focusing on the charge and will be keeping Mahath Musa in his sights, because that is the main goal here. For Sean Skitter, though, he is a little bit further down. He needs to get past Mahath Musa, but it's not going to be an easy time, as he's still got those mandatory pit stops. The 2 mandatory pit stops, while Mahath Musa's got 1. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on when Christoph Peterson's going to get the pass done. Ernest Lundbriggs, though, going to try and look for the inside line. Backs out of it. Couldn't quite get it all sorted out. Glenn Smith going and holding the line, actually slowing up a little bit in the corner just to kill off the drive. The V6 Turbo doesn't quite like going slow, and in these cold conditions of 19 degrees in the rain with high-speed winds is making life a little bit more tricky for our drivers on the race through as we carry on. But I'm expecting more pit stops to happen roughly around 30 minutes to go left of this race, though. That's going to be the one to keep an eye out for. Dave Young onto the back of Sean Skitter. Sean trying to make his way back up through the order and looking to maintain a solid pace at the moment. That McLaren has been through the walls, losing out that all the little bit of times that's in the race. Lundbriggs onto the back of Glenn Smith. 2 are fighting it out for class position, and they are the closest out on circuit at the moment. Flying a little bit of formation. Doesn't look like Ernest wants to get past him as yet. So Lundbriggs just waiting it out and waiting for a perfect opportunity to possibly go for that late lunge on Glenn Smith, who gets very defensive. Middle of the circuit, getting a little bit caught out there, and now just tries to bring himself towards himself. So not an easy time out on track. Drivers having to fight their way through and see who's going to get that top climb, as we do see Glenn Smith gets on the brakes a little bit earlier, and Ernest Lundbrig's having to just slide the car around, locking it up, trying to just get any bit of momentum at the moment. This is the final round. Season 11 going to come to a close here, and our drivers are doing an absolutely fantastic job. Nicholas Porras onto the back of Lewis Knight, looks for the inside line, but that Nissan GTR getting a lot of grip underneath him, carries on the momentum, charging his way through, late on the brakes, swings it in, and dealing with Nicholas, trying to get that little bit back at him. So Glenn Smith down into third place. So it does look like Ernest Lundbrig's got the pass down and dusted. Let's go back 30 seconds though, as that was heading into turn 1. So Glenn Smith getting a bit of momentum. Ernest looking to go for the inside line, keeping very, very close, following him through to the outside, hard on the brakes, and Glenn Smith getting a little bit run out wide. He outbraked himself there, and Ernest gets the pass done and dusted. Exactly what's needed to be done, absolutely textbook, and well done to him, as we do get a shot of David Roth pulling into the pits as well. So David Roth into the pits, as we do see Lewis Knight onto the back of Patrick. So Patrick now needing to try and deal a little bit more pace to him. The BMW M Red Bull Sim Racing team dealing with Lewis Knight and Nicholas Porras onto the back of him. Will be going and watching the mirrors very, very closely as Lewis Knight gets the pass done and dusted. And you see Patrick landing up in the dirt. That's cost him a bit of time. And Nicholas not able to get that pass sorted out just in time. Will have to sit behind, losing out quite a bit through the chicane. And now needs to try and figure out where on earth is he going to carry this drive. 48 minutes to go of the race, and it does look like Peterson will be walking away with the championship here tonight. Glenn Smith will be walking away with his championship on the way through, but for our gold championship, let's take a look. Lewis Knight won't be walking away with this one, as he's losing out a lot of time. So Lewis Knight needs to keep an eye out for Sky, who is running in 5th place. Now, Sky's sitting on 66 points, while Lewis Knight is on 73 points. And that's where the difference is going to come in. So Sky needs to really keep his pace up and ensure he finishes up in first to possibly, just possibly, go and pass the likes of Lewis Knight right at the end. I mean, there's nothing in it. He came in with 66 points, and Lewis Knight's got 73 points. And that is going to also play into effect here. So Sky needs to work a little bit harder to ensure he stays into the mix. But our season 11, if all stays the same, we are witnessing our champions and Christoph Peterson looking to hang on to the crowd despite a very, very rough season of trying to push it to the limit. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we also do have our Split 2 that's running at the moment. For anyone that wants to go and enjoy, we have our Split 2, and that is for our goal. That's for our our AM drivers that are out there. Also, drivers pushing themselves to extreme limit at the moment, getting better and better. So if you're looking to enjoy a bit of racing on a Sunday evening, and you want to kill off some time, and you want to learn how to go fast, well, come to Evolution Racing Academy. Down in the description, we've got a link. Click on it, be part of it, and come enjoy the racing with us. We will be having a bit of racing on the off season, but as the excitement also builds up to the weekend, because we do have an endurance race once again with DSGR and HSR being a part of ERA, has got a race for you coming up this weekend, and it is an absolute doozy, not to be missed for those that love endurance races. It's going to be such a phenomenal one for everyone to take a look. So this is going to be one to keep an eye out for, as our drivers fight their way through, still hanging on tooth and nail. Lundbrig's opening up the gap, needing to do everything he can at this point to try and fight it out. So everyone seeing how can they get that little bit more momentum, what's going to be the fast times in the running order. So let's go and take a look at the position gains though, because that is going to change the likes of the race, as we do see Mahyth Musa served his time. Sky's Roth is all, so the only ones that haven't served their times is Lundbrig's with 15 seconds, and Peterson with the 5 seconds as well. So he has not pulled into the pits. Mahyth Musa's up into 5th though. And that may be the changing game here. So for Peterson, remember, if Mahyth Musa gets first place and Peterson finishes in 4th, championship goes in Musa's favor. If Musa does not finish in first place, or if Peterson gets into 3rd, it's fine. He wins. Which, at the moment, with only 3 of the class cars, it is pretty much done and dusted for him. So Peterson just needs to keep up the momentum, and he wants to make sure that he wins an outright fight. Lundberg's running in 2nd place. He's up 6 positions. Started in 8th during the course of the race. He's gone up 6 positions. He's into 2nd place. Krzysztof Rolotsky is down. He's up into 3rd. He's gone up 7 positions. Started in 10th and made up some great time in the Hollow Knight McLaren. And then we've got Ice Sky up 8 positions. Started in 12th. Now lying in 4th. Been through a bit of a difficult time on the start. Mahyth Musa exactly where he started in 5th place, trying to gain a bit of time. Sean Skitter exactly where he started at the start of the race was 6th. And Dave Young up 13 places, folks. I mean, that is a wild one. Lying in 7th position, he started in 20th. Stone cold dead last and just kept the momentum. He kept his nose clean after that incident that was ahead of him in lap 1. So he's had a great run there. David Roth, unfortunately, down 5 positions. Glenn Smith down 7 positions. Started in 2nd in this race, but is still looking to fight it out. Lucas Kolob running in 10th. He's up 4 positions. Flo Scub down 4 positions. Martin Spritzer up 4 positions. Lewis Knight in 13th, up 4 positions. Nicholas Porras down 3 positions. Nico Lawrence exactly where he started. And Patrick Miles up 2 positions from where he started. That little BMW has been doing the work at the moment. So, drivers fighting their way through. 42 minutes to go of this race. 1 hour and 30 minutes of pure racing, heart-to-heart, in the most challenging conditions that have been thrown out. And for our drivers, this was a complete unknown. Now, every single race, you had a rough understanding of what you're going to be dealing with. Rain, shine, the works. Even dusk and dawn as a one to deal with. But this final race was pretty much playing close to each other's chest. Mahyth Musa into the pits, though, is looking to try and just get that pit stop done and dusted. He wants to get ahead of Sean Skitter on the undercut. Christoph Peterson now pulling into the pits, really slow into the pits, and just will be serving that 5 seconds as well. So Mahyth Musa will come out of the pits lying in 10th position as it stands. Tim trying to give us a bit of a shot there, jumps up into the heli. And there is Mahyth Musa, and there's a pit lane. You can see how difficult it is into turn 1. But if it's all running clear, you're okay. So the moment that there's a pack, as we saw Nico Lawrence had a little bit earlier, it becomes a little bit more interesting. So Christoph Peterson into the pits. That's going to allow Ernest Lundberg in the 488 Ferrari to get the pass done and dusted. And he will be on the charge. So Ernest Lundberg's now up into 1st place. Lotsky will be giving it everything he's got, but I don't think he will get that 2nd place away from Christoph Peterson. He's just way too far back for that at the moment. 2nd in class, though, is no easy feat, because here he comes past the start-finish line, and Peterson, who I think is not rolling as yet. So Little Honda just started rolling. Krzysztof Rolotsky puts himself into 2nd, and Sky, chasing down Peterson, will come out side by side, as Peterson just lifting off the gas a little bit, allows Sky to get on past, and will carry the momentum through. No pressure is on to Peterson at the moment. Exactly where he is the championship done and dusted for him, and scoring the crown once again here for season 11. Got season 10. Was a very, very close fight to the end of the season. Well, it looks like it's going to happen all over again at this point. So Peterson trying to maintain that little bit of momentum, fights his way through, keeping it all together, as he sees Sky ahead of him. Now, Sky is first of the gold class, and he wants to stay exactly where he is to maximize points for the championship. Because at the moment, he's running in 3rd and is running with 66 points, while Scott Reynolds, who's not participating, is on 70 points. So Sky has an opportunity here to maximize points to jump up into 2nd place, possibly. That is a big possibility. Remember, drop rounds do count into it. Lewis Knight, though, is way down the order, and that is going to hurt him. He's on 73 points. So regardless, he's going to be hurting big time after this run. So as our drivers getting their stops done and dusted, Roski gets into the pits. We do see Nicholas Porras getting the pass done on Lewis Knight. Nope, couldn't quite get that sorted out. Lewis Knight just carrying a little bit of momentum, a fraction more than Nicholas Porras as they fight it out for class and on-track position. Lying 13th and 14th at the moment. Lewis Knight doing everything he can, runs out a little bit wide, tries to keep the like of Porras at bay. As we jump on the rear spoiler, it does look like the rain has settled, but the track is still a little bit on the wet side. So no real major in terms of this, but just enough to keep you on those wet weather tires to ensure that you don't have too much of a problem. Nicholas Porras in the Aston Martin, though, will be looking to try and gain a bit of time. That's Rooster Tail kicking off the back of the Nissan GTR. Not as thick as it once was, so he's going to be quite happy with it. Now, in through the chicane, you can see hard braking, second gear, over the curb, bouncing it over, and tank slapper on the way through. Got to be careful, though, not to land up with a bit of a problem. Christoph Peterson, though, losing out a bit of time. He drops off the circuit. So Peterson losing out the car has lost out a bit of time there. So what happened to the number 7 of Christoph Peterson? He's been running like clockwork. He's down into 4th place overall. And had Sean Skitter get past him. So now let's take a look. Runs out wide, touches a curb, spins that rear out. And here comes Sky. There goes Patrick. And here comes his teammate getting past. So, Ernest Lundbrix now into the pits. Sky will be looking to take that top spot and doing so. Still got 2 pit stops to go along with Sean Skitter. Well, I was to say that Sean Skitter decides he's going to pull into the pits. And it does look like Dave Young into the pits as well. So, Young also getting himself into the pits, not wanting to be caught out on the run. And Peterson and Sky will be fighting it out. Sky needing to do that double pit stop. He's way down the order once he gets it done and dusted. 37 minutes left of this race. Matthias Musa into 10th. Needs to get ahead of Sean Skitter. So his target is Sean Skitter at the moment. Remember, Matthias Musa has done all his pit stops. So he has completely cleared himself out of all the pit stops. So he needs to keep the momentum. Does get ahead of Dave Young, who actually came out after Sean Skitter. So Skitter is now tumbling down the order. So what on earth happened to Skitter on that? Because he is just bailing down at the moment. I wonder if there's a bit of repair work being done to the car just to try and get him going. And we'll try and get some information from the Logistical Nightmare Racing team on that matter, on what happened to Sean Skitter. He's now rolling, so he's coming out of the pits. He's going to come out into 12th, but he lost out a lot of time, even to Dave Young, who came in about a second and a half after that he was into the pit. So it's a bit of a nightmare situation there, but at the moment, 3rd place is good for him on the points. He needs to try and keep that momentum and keep it going. For Peterson, he needs to try and maintain this 1st place. That's what he needs to do to hold and ensure that he locks in that championship properly to the end. Sky, who's leading out the pack, needs to keep ahead of David Roth. And David Roth, though, is keeping a phenomenal drive. He's done his 1st pit stop, though. So I think Sky's in for a world of hurt once David Roth keeps that momentum going, as he doesn't have to worry about the end. As you see, Lucas Collab dealing with Ernest Lundbrix, and Lundbrix trying to keep on the toe, pulling himself along at the moment. And Collab not going to back down. Now, for Collab at the moment, every bit of points counts as he's going and closing up to Glenn Smith ahead of him. So Ernest Lundbrix needs to actually stay behind Lucas at the moment for Lucas to have a chance to maximize the points in the championship, to run his way back up to the top. Because at the moment, he is running, Lucas Collab is running in 5th place. So he needs to try and maintain the 2nd, if not higher, to ensure that he can usurp Martin Spritzer and Camille Sun, who are sitting on 63 both. So that's where the pressure comes in, to try and stay in with it. Glenn Smith, though, running on the likes of 74 points, is also not too in the clear here. Martin Spritzer into the pits, going and serving his final pit stop, and is out. Will be coming out in 15th. 16 cars still out on the track, all fighting their way through. Nico Lawrence going and scoring a pass in, Martin Spritzer. So Nico Lawrence, who's second in the championship, will be keeping a very close eye on that. Ernest Lundbrix, though, wanting to try and push his way through and looking and saying, listen, buddy, I need you to go. I need you out of my way a little bit here. Lucas Kolab not backing down from the fight, though, is saying, listen, if you're going to be fast, if you want to try and be fast, you're going to have to earn it here. The debut was last race, and you put yourself to the top. But now you're going to have to deal with me in my big AMG Mercedes. It's done very, very well. I mean, Lucas has taken this car straight to the top multiple times. The ERA Racing team quite thoroughly happy with the car. And in the long-term development that's been going into it, that's the one thing I've got to take my hats off to a lot of these drivers that do stick around with their cars. Glenn Smith, though, dropping into the dirt, loses out a bit of time. Suddenly has Lucas Kolab to the back of him and Ernest Lundbrix. So Glenn Smith has just had this entire race swapped on its head as he battles it out for first place in class. All have completed their pit stops as Ernest Lundbrix sliding that 488 Evo out of the corner, chasing him down. Lucas going and trying to put that big nose on the inside, forcing Glenn Smith in the 296, the brand new Ferrari. And well, if this is the stallion, there's the pony ahead, because Glenn Smith is in the youngest of the pack. That is between himself, Lucas Kolab, and Ernest Lundbrix. Lundbrix is in the old school, old dust yourself off 488 Evo that's done a great job and is still continuing to do it. Lucas Kolab in the Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo will be hoping to carry a lot more momentum. 33 minutes left though, and our division for this is our platinum. And then Smith dives into the pit, so he's getting himself out of the way, not losing a bit of time. Lucas Kolab, they're now taking class position, first place at the moment, with Ernest Lundbrix putting the pressure onto the back of him. Mahyth Musa trying to get past likes of Christoph Rolotsky, who's not backing down from the fight. Rolotsky still leaning into it and not allowing Mahyth Musa by, saying, listen, buddy, I've got one more pit stop, but I need to keep my momentum, because for my race, I need to get ahead of Glenn Smith. I need to get ahead of Lundbrix and Kolab, and at the moment you're going to be costing me a bit of time if I let you by. So it's just so many to go on, so many permutations to this race that can change how it's all looked at. Who's going to be able to get that climb? Who's going to be able to stand on the top? Now, I mean, for the likes of Rolotsky, who is running in 8th place in the championship, has lost out 2 rounds. He's looking to try and maximize the points now. Lundbrix all over the back of him, trying to put that chase down as quick as he can to the likes of Lucas Kolab, who is currently running in 5th place in the championship. So he's now in first to maximize points. Has the opportunity here to usurp into 3rd or possibly into 2nd place if he keeps ahead of Nico Lawrence, as we do see David Roth now into the pits. Ernest Lundbrix though going and sliding that 488. It's getting a little bit uncomfortable under braking, just not having an easy time out there as they march their way through so many close races coming on. Who's going to be able to get that climb? Who's going to be able to work their way through the order? And Ernest Lundbrix trying to keep the pressure on at this point. Closes up to Lucas Kolab. He's able to make up a bit of time through Sector 1, Sector 2, but just can't get it all buttoned up heading into Sector 3. And David Roth coming out of the pits will be running in 8th place. Where is Flo? He's still in the pit lane. Glenn Smith coming down, giving it absolutely everything he's got. Flo losing out of position because he's still waiting. So Glenn Smith has gone up. David Roth, though, trying to keep ahead of Flo Scub, who has just been overtaken. So David Roth running 2nd of our gold championship, doing a 2nd of our gold class here today for our final round at Donington Park for the Evolution Racing Academy. Ernest Lundbrix, though, trying to make up a bit of time, doing everything he can to stay within the fight. Sean Skitter getting that pass done and dusted. Lewis Knight still battling it out. Oh, contact between himself and Flo, and Nicholas Porras getting involved there. That was an absolutely terrible run. It looked like got caught out in the braking. So let's take a look. Lewis Knight keeping ahead. Suddenly had Flo Scub coming back at him, and Nicholas Porras. So as we do see Nicholas, that's Flo Scub coming out of the pits. light tap on the rear, and it just created this concertina effect. Did point Lewis Knight back, so I've got to say, well done on skill to turn the car around the way it is, but definitely not what you want to have, and definitely what the tyres are not going to be asking for, especially if you're pushing him that little bit more. Remember, a lot of these drivers are not wanting to swap out tyres and wanting to stay on the same set as they claw their way through, but you don't want to go and kill off that set, because that's what you're going to be relying on towards the end of the race, as Ernest Lundbrig's onto the back of Collab, doing everything he can to try and get that all buttoned up and get it going. Nicholas onto the back of Flo. These two Aston Martins with a bit of front-end aero damage is going to be definitely not the happiest campers in the block. Dave Young into the pits. He's going to fall down. Glenn Smith going and taking the position, as majority of the drivers are starting to get those pit stops done and dusted. So the only drivers that still need to get going, Christoph Peterson, Sky, along with Lucas Kolab and Ernest Lundbriggs, who we are currently watching out on track. Roloski in 5th, needing to get the pit stop done and dusted. Second to that, Sean Skitter along with Nicholas Porras, as we do see Lucas getting that drag race and running the nose straight through. Ernest Lundbriggs could not even fight back on that one. He attempted to. He looked at it. It was on the mind, but just didn't have the torque to get on by. Suddenly, Mahath Musa up on the inside, trying to carry a lot of momentum at the moment. Hard on the brakes, swings it in, and side by side with the Hollow Knight of Roloski. And Roloski getting that part, getting himself all sorted out, having a great time. So, Sky into the pits. This is going to be an interesting one, because where is David Roth in amongst the fight? He's running in 7th position. It's just gone through the hairpin. Is this going to be enough for him to go and take that top spot away from the likes of Sky? Has he done enough to make it work here on the way through? And for the likes of David Roth, running down the order though, he is running in our gold, and he is running 5th at this point. So David Roth going and chasing down Sky, who's actually sitting in 3rd place as it stands. Sky did lose lose a drop round in Hungaroring, while David Roth has been consistently running between Spa, Silverstone and Hungaroring. He has yet to miss a race, and he's going to hang on for it. Mahath Musa onto the back of Rodski, Ernest Lundbriggs onto the back of Lucas Collab. But you can see how the big burly Nissan GTR that got into play, and that is Lewis Knight just hanging on to the back of him. And that tells you how much time they're actually losing in a straight line. Who's going to be able to get that little bit more up on the climb? Who's going to be able to stand their way up on the order? And it's going to be an outright charge through and through at this point to keep that bit of momentum. Lotski going and looking to try and make up a bit of time. Loses out to Mahath Musa, who then allows the likes of Lewis Knight to get involved. David Roth, though, not close enough to the pack to capitalize on it, but currently leading out his pack in class, which is going to be an absolutely smiling moment for him. Peterson out in 1st, along with Lucas Collab. 2nd, and then lying in 3rd place is Ernest Lundbriggs. Top 3 still needing to do their final pit stop. 5th place still needing to do a final pit stop. Sean Skitter lying in 8th place needs to do his final pit stop. And Patrick lying in 13th needing to do their pit stop. So for Sean Skitter at the moment, not worrying about what the race is going to look for him. His concern is just get to the end. Maintaining 3rd place is a good finishing order for him. And Peterson, who if he finishes this race, just finish, will be taking home the crown once again. And Mahath Musa, unfortunately, just not going and having enough points to close up that gap. So it's just a monumental effort needed at the moment. Lundbriggs has got onto the back of Collab, trying to force him into a mistake. Collab, though, late onto the brakes, brings the nose in, goes and beautifully crosses over. And Lundbriggs, who just can't get the power down at the moment, behind that Mercedes AMG GT3 as they charge their way through into the hairpin, hard on the brakes, swings the nose in the 488, trying to get that little bit of momentum with Lucas Collab. Going onto the grass a little bit, loses a bit of drive. Lundbriggs, though, tries to switch around, going to go for the inside line, outbrakes himself a little bit. Did show his hand there, saying, listen, buddy, you're costing me a bit of time here. I need to make up that little bit of time. We see Nick Lawrence just ahead of him, who may be into a fixture. So for Lucas Collab, this is big, big news to keep Lundbriggs at bay. And he needs to do it. He needs to finish up in this 1st place to maximize his points, to try and at least get onto that podium spot, into that top 3 for season 11. It has been a run of note for Lucas Kolab. And as we see Lundberg so trying to come back at him. Kolab going and losing the rear. And Lundberg's now getting at first place. And for his class, second overall. Lucas Kolab tried everything, but unfortunately that car stepped out on him just at the worst moment. Let's go back about 30 seconds. And let's go to the helmets and just watch that cross arm as he's trying to bring the car through. Beautifully hanging it all together. And unfortunately goes under braking a little bit late, loses out that little bit of drive and into the dirt. He's able to save it though. That is one of the best saving graces at this point, because losing it out there is not fun, and you're going to go break the car, especially towards the end of the race, is going to be absolutely detrimental if you get that sorted out. So our top 3, Peterson, Lundberg and Kolab, now needing to focus on the pits. I think for Kolab though, he's going to get himself for a little bit of an earlier stop. 23 minutes left of the race, 22 minutes left of the pit window as Lucas that's Nico Lawrence getting past Ernest Lundberg, as we do see Lucas Kolab into the pits. So Ernest Lundberg gets past the likes of Nico Lawrence, and Nico, keeping it all together, will have to just power his way through at the moment. He's been on a great charge and hopes that it's going to be enough by the end of the race. Lundberg so in second place, trying to prove a point, catching up to Peterson, or attempting to catch up to Peterson, 32 seconds ahead. Maeth Musa is now up into third place, is on the charge. Ernest Lundberg's actually set the fastest lap time of the race, a 1:31.8 on his last run. But remember, Christoph Peterson tried putting in the fastest lap time, but it was invalidated, so it did not count. His best lap was a 1:31.470. His last lap though was a 1:31.837. 867, but that was also invalidated. It's taking too much of the corners. But this is what also leads into the next one. How many drive-through, if we're going to see a drive-through happening, because especially through this little chicane, you could take a little bit too much, cost yourself a bit of time, and unfortunately that will lead to a drive-through, which can absolutely decimate your race. So 5 drivers still needing to get the pit stop done and dusted. And Patrick Wells, as I said, that pulls into the pit, so he's getting it done. Sean Skitzer needing to get it sorted out. Rodsky, Ernest Lundberg, and Peterson still need to get their pit stops done and dusted. And it looks like all are going to keep up that momentum. They're going to try and push themselves a little bit further into the race. 22 minutes left of it. And this is round 7, our final round of our ERA Championship Season 11. Before we go into a bit of a break, and then we'll be back once again with our next season, heading into season 12, and it is going to be a wild one. We've been growing and growing, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely incredible. Our gold division has grown. Our silver and our platinum, our diamond and our platinum have also grown, but we've also got our silver 2, which is out there going and showing some of the racing here at Donington Park as well. And they are in a phenomenal time. Great to see the drivers all having a good bit of fun and trying to push themselves that little bit more up through the order. So Peterson leads out the charge, 43 laps completed, coming up to his 44th lap, and still not looking to get it into the pits for his final pit stop. He's going to try and stretch that gap as much as possible to Ernest Lundberg, who's now 33 seconds behind. So Lundberg is slowly but surely chipping away. It is like taking a screwdriver to a concrete brick wall at the moment, but it is chipping the paint, it's chipping the brick, and getting an opportunity to possibly close up that gap. It's going to have to look at either an undercut or a serious overcut to get it done and dusted, because it's going to cost you a fair amount of time. This is a very short pit lane, but it is a very difficult pit lane to go for. That left-hander, as you come out of the final corner, you're going to have to keep it completely locked left just to swing the nose in and be able to get that pit stop done and dusted. As we keep an eye on Glenn Smith catching up to David Roth at the moment. David Roth leading out his class. We'll be seeing Smith chasing him down. Smith did start in second place, though, putting it in second fastest lap time of the race. He got beaten out by Christoph Peterson by the skin of his teeth at that point, compared to the likes of Glenn Smith, who's put a tremendous amount of effort. The whole 2ID team has done a great job there. as they claw their way through. So going to be a wild one for the remaining parts of the race, but 19 minutes to go, and it looks like everyone's kind of settled into their own rhythm at the moment. Glenn Smith, David Roth are 1.3 seconds away, and Sky and Skitter are currently sitting 1.8 away, but I don't think Sky is going to challenge Skitter at the moment, as Skitter continues to open up the gap. 4 drivers needing to get into the pit stop, and it's our first 2, along with 4th place Rolotsky and Sean Skitter running in 8th place, who's got a very close eye on his fellow teammate Sky right behind him. So Sky's going to try and hope to close up that gap a little bit more, see whether he can stay into the pack, as David Roth, watching his rearview mirror, suddenly sees Glenn Smith coming up at a rate of knots, keeping very close, and this is into the chicane. You can see outbraking himself just as we jump on board, and I'm going to show you how fast they were taking that chicane. Unfortunately, not that time. That one was a little bit out of the way. So Glenn Smith losing out 1.8 seconds to the back of David Roth at the moment, just by outbraking himself into the chicane, having a really, really tough time out there to just try and keep it all together. Sky keeping a chase to Sean Skitter ahead of him as they fight their way through. Top of the order, though, is Christoph Peterson leading out our diamonds and leading out overall. He's looking to take the crown once again for the championship, and he is really trying to just battle out. It's caught by one of the Astons. Beautiful pass for against the 912, and that's Flo Scub, who mines out of the way for him. Sean Skitter loses out the driver. Sky getting the pass done, and Sean Skitter went for a pass and lost out, as we do see Sean Skitter actually pulling into the pits. So Sean Skitter into the pits, that is going to get him down and out of the top running of our top 10 currently. So he's going to have to work really hard, but that does go and take a look to where it's going to be. He's hoping for the championship scoring points to work in his favor, especially with the drop rounds that they're going to be used. Christoph Peterson leading out in first place, with the likes of Lundberg's currently in second place, needing to do that pit stop, and Rolotsky still needs to do that pit stop. So they're going to be running right to the end on this one. If I have to take a guess, it's going to be the final 5 minutes of the race. Ballpark, shoot it here. It's going to be down to the final 5 minutes of the race. Get it in the pits, get it sorted, jump up on the jacks, down, go. And go try and set the fastest lap time to beat our Lundberg's is 32.017. Absolutely mental. Still getting faster and faster, which is great to see. Glenn Smith onto the back of David Roth as trying to close down. So the 296 actually giving a quick indication of where he needs to be to try and get the pass done and dusted. David Roth not going and listening at the moment. He's just focusing on the charge. He's saying, okay, look, I'm going to keep going. You are running currently third in class. I'm running first in class, and I don't want Sky and Scub anywhere near me at this point. So you're going to have to really work your way around. But great to see the 2 Ferraris out on track. Personal favorite is the 488 over the 296. Purely on the design style on the rear, and also on the front is a little bit too much towards the angles. And it does put off the original Ferrari shape, which by far, I think many people will agree, the 488 does look better than the 296 in that. But if you are a big fan of the 296, if you're a fan of the 488, well, come and prove it here at ERA. There is a link down in the description and our Discord as well to be a part of the amazing feat that's happening here at ERA. And we got to also talk about the upcoming endurance race on the 12th. You want to be there for some amazing runs at Massimo, if I remember correctly. So it's going to be a very difficult circuit to race around, but if it's anything like what we saw with Spa, there's going to be highs and lows, lefts and rights and centers. So Ernest Lundberg's running in second, needs a pit. Rolotsky needs a pit. These two have not gotten into the pits as yet. Glenn Smith still racing against David Roth at the moment as they fight their way through, charging down. We're into the last 15 minutes and 26 seconds. I did say about 5 minutes we're going to see Lundberg's and Rolotsky pull into the pits. Peterson, though, did prove me wrong. He actually puts it in at the just beyond the 15-minute mark, and he's served so far 46 laps completed on his 47th. Did all these pit stops, and now just needs to focus on getting it to the end. David Roth losing out a bit of time. Glenn Smith trying to close up that gap 0.5 of a second, 0.4. You can see how he just closes up, but there's no room for any errors to happen. And as time starts to tick away, we will be moving into the night as well here at Donington. So not only is it going to be a wet and rainy circuit, it's also going to be a bit darker for our drivers to deal with, as they will be getting the reflection off the circuit from the headlights and one another as they fight their way through. That is going to be a bit of a challenge one, as we do see Glenn Smith looking for the inside line. Going to go right for the send. Couldn't quite get it done. Did try his luck though, as Rolotsky parked and spun round. So he's mining out the way. He's down into 6th now, allowing Glenn Smith and David Roth to get by. He's managed to get it going, but that is going to compromise him hugely on his run. So Rolotsky losing out not 1 but 2 positions to champion. He's lost out the run to Glenn Smith, who is now going to be taking that 2nd place away. For the moment, Rolotsky still needing to pit. I think he is in a world of hurt. Left it way too late as Rolotsky pulls into the pit, so he's getting his final pit stop done with us as we keep an eye on David Roth and Glenn Smith, still fighting it out between the two of them. The two Ferraris doing everything it can. It's getting darker and darker though. As we take a look from the helmet cam, you can see how it's getting darker. It's becoming more challenging to try and keep it all together, especially with that spray, that kick up coming from David Roth at the moment. That rooster tail becoming a little bit more of a difficult drive for our drivers to move forward. Sky moves up a position and will be happy with that. Now up into 7th place. Flo Scub though going and giving a huge shake. Martin Spritzer, who is looking to close up the gap, gets that pass done and dusted over Rolotsky at the moment. So Rolotsky down into 10th position and will be going and saying more than enough words at the moment, as he's lost some valuable points in his championship. So Glenn Smith still putting on the drive. Doesn't need to fight with Roth at the moment. He could just keep him pacing one another, and that will be the ultimate goal for them. If you can continue that pacing, you can continue that drive, it's going to be enough, as they do see Lewis Knight in the Nissan GTR just ahead of him, and he will be playing a key effort into this little passing, whether David Roth is going to get held up a little bit and allow Glenn Smith to go for the dive, or whether it's going to be a easy pass. Well, heading into turn 1 though, I don't see a Nissan GTR slowing down at all, so you're going to have to catch him all through the twisties, and that is going to be an absolute nightmare to try and get past, because you're going to have to go offline. And what's currently offline is monster puddles, a little bit of marbles as well, as we do see Glenn Smith getting that pass done and dusted over David Roth. David getting a bit of a poor exit, going and saying, listen buddy, okay, you go for it, I'm going to chase you down, and we will concentrate on the run till the end. So this is going to be this little run for the likes of David Roth to stay onto the back of Glenn Smith and see if he can soak up the pressure. At the moment, it does look like Glenn is not hanging around. He is absolutely charging out and wanting to break away early on. He's hoping to close up that gap to Mahias Musa at the moment. And considering he started in 2nd, this weather, this circuit favors him the most. Unfortunately, this time round was not an easy effort. So everyone now got into that bit of a comfy run as our drivers focus on the charge and see who will be able to get themselves up towards the top of the running order, as we do keep a very close eye on Christoph Peterson, as he's got Sean Skitter and pulling along Sean Skitter at the moment, so that is definitely helping him out. So Peterson going to help pull Skitter a little bit up through the order. Skitter lying in 16th position overall, 3rd in class, looking to try and just pull him up that little bit higher and a bit closer to Mahias Musa at this point, who is just absolutely going and giving it horns. But Ernest Lundberg still not getting into the pits, putting in good lap times though. 132.3 was his last lap time. Best lap time was a 131.750. So he's getting closer back to his fastest lap time, and I think that's because the tank's starting to run out. But Christoph Peterson running in 1st place, last lap 132.105. That was a bit of a retaliation to Lundberg's time, and is going to be smiling ear to ear on that one as he tries to pull Sean Skitter along. Doesn't want to lose out too much time. And Peterson though gets a drive-through penalty. Peterson got a drive-through penalty, and that was due to cutting the track a little bit too much. So a bit of overconfidence has kicked in, and Peterson now will have to serve that drive-through penalty, pulls into the pits. That is going to allow Mahath Musa to gain a bit of time. So where is Mahath Musa out on track here? As he tries to make his way through, really giving it everything he's got. It's going to be a wild one. I mean, if we take a look, there is number 7 of Christoph Peterson now exiting the pits at number 95 is Ernest Lundbriggs. So Lundbriggs has got them past, but Mahath Musa just gets himself past. Side by side they go. And what a run now, because Mahath Musa and Peterson finally going and getting close to one another. Musa has to get back onto the defense here. The undercut seems to have worked. That little bit of a gamble has paid off to get himself back up into the running. But Peterson, if he maintains where he is, wins that championship hands down. Doesn't have to fight with Mahath Musa at the moment, but he can apply enough pressure to possibly allow his teammate Sean Skitter to become a valuable asset as well. So the Logistical Nightmare Racing team need to go and start figuring out the bigger picture here. What's going to be needed? So Mahath Musa soaking up the pressure as Christoph Peterson, as a driver, doesn't want to worry about strategies and fuel saving and all that type of stuff. He wants to keep the pressure on. He wants to go racing. Mahath Musa, who knows that, well, there's not much can be done at the moment. Time to get elbows out and let's have a bit of fun racing in Donington in the dark. It is going on towards 8 o'clock sim racing time, and these drivers are still absolutely hammering it in some of the toughest of conditions, which is just absolutely incredible to just maintain the focus. That spray kicking up at you constantly, the car wanting to snap around you as you get onto the brakes, onto the powers, turning it in. It just wants to throw you into the wall, so you got to be so careful. And then also trying to get past your competitors is never an easy time as well. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on how that all turns. So 7 minutes and 54 seconds to go. First place is Ernest Lundbriggs, followed by Mahath Musa in second. Christoph Peterson running in third. Glenn Smith, David Roth, Lucas Kolob, Alex Guy, along with Flo Scrub, Martin Spitzer, Christoph Rolotsky, Dave Young, Nico Lawrence, Nicholas Porras, Lewis Knight, Patrick Biles, and Sean Skitter. Currently is our pack running. A couple of retirements, about 4 retirements happened during the course of this race due to a variety of issues, whether it's just having a bit of a problem with the stewards and going and saying, listen, I don't need a drive-through penalty, or I don't need any of those sort of stuff, or whether it was mechanical failure to the cars that landed up taking them out of the race. So it's possibly a mechanical failure. I would put that down to the 4, that they did have wheelbases going and disconnecting, or the brake not going and working well in the favor, and not wanting to go and put it into the next car. They chose to withdraw. I would much prefer to see them still going round cycling, because with a race like this, rather get to the end, rather see the end the proper way as you claw your way through. So Mahath Musa with Christoph Peterson onto the back of him, doing everything he can to try and look for a pass, possibly to just stick it to Mahath Musa at the moment, who is doing a fantastic job for the Project Vapor team, and he is keeping ahead of Logistical Nightmares Racing Christoph Peterson, our Season 10 champion, as he gathers a little bit more momentum, trying to close up that gap as far as he can. It's going to be a long reach for him to go late on the brakes compared to Mahath Musa. That front engine can just eat up curbs and get himself going. But the problem is the rotation. It's heavy amounts of understeer starts to kick in and throws them out. Another good one is Dave Young catching up to Rolotsky now as they fight their way through. So Christopher Rolotsky and Dave Young are continuing to push themselves out towards a running order. So great stuff indeed. Peterson needing just to focus on his charge, running second in class, with the likes of Ernest Lundbriggs running first of our platinums, Glenn Smith in second place of our platinums. For our diamonds, it's Mahath Musa and Christoph Peterson running first and second, then David Roth and Sky running first and second for our gold championship. They joined Server 1 recently to be able to go into the race, so they've gone and moved up a couple of drivers. They said, listen guys, come up, let's move you a bit into the racing lot. And so far our gold drivers, which is essentially going to be a proper run for him. So Christoph Peterson going to keep up a charge, will look to try and close up that gap as much as possible as they fight their way through. And it is going to be a proper change as they fight their way on. Nothing being given at the moment. Well, everyone just pushing that a little bit further as it gets darker and darker. 4 minutes to go. Lights ablaze, reflections coming off the track. And for Mahath Musa, he is definitely suffering at the moment. Just take a look. As well as he's trying to watch where he's going and the BMW just kicking up around him, you can see the reflection kicking up in the rearview mirrors with the likes of Christoph Peterson going and hunting him down, looking for any way past at the moment. And Mahath Musa with the undercut did work out for him on track, but it was a little bit too late to bring it to the end of the championship. Christoph Peterson will be retaining that crown unless something happens, which I don't foresee it happening at this point. I think he's going to be able to take it to the end of the running pack and ensure that he stands tall ahead of the work. So it's going to be a wild one indeed for our drivers to really focus on their drive, seeing who's going to be able to carry that little bit of momentum through towards the end of the race. So Ernest Lundbrix leading out the pack, still needs to get into the pits. 180 seconds if he doesn't serve that pit stop, but he is really running it down to the wire here. Is he going to get it in? No, he's going to continue the drive. So he is just going and opening that gap further and further. Mahath Musa, though, is going to be trying to close up that gap. He's 13 seconds behind with Christoph Peterson, a second behind, trying to force a mistake out of him. Glenn Smith running in fourth, David Roth in fifth. Sixth place is Lucas Kollab, Alex Sky, Flo Scub, along with Martin Switzer, Christoph Roloski, Dave Young trying to have a go at him as well in 11th position. 12th, Nico Lawrence, followed by Lewis Knight in the Nissan GTR. Patrick Bell still out on the track in the BMW M4 GT3. And Sean Skitter rounding out the pack as he fights his way through. Christoph Peterson looking for that inside line. Couldn't quite get the pass done and dusted as yet. It's going to maintain that little bit of a drive as they close each other down. So it's gone away from the championship now. This is just for bragging rights. Mahath Musa wanting to brag how he has battled in some of the most challenging conditions we have seen in this season, and that is the final round of the championship for season 11 here at Donington. Rain plus cold plus dark coming into play. Drivers really having to figure out what they can do to get that little bit more of momentum, that little bit more of a climb as they get a bit of a chase. I mean, this is going to be a run to the end with Peterson hoping that he can get past Mahath Musa as they make their way through. Closest fights on circuit for on-track position. Christoph Roloski and Dave Young, they're also trying to fight it out. This is for class, and they are running so far in fifth in class, fifth and sixth. So Dave Young hoping that he can just get that jump over Roloski at the moment, which I think is going to be the hardest part here because Roloski has been rather consistent in his pace. 1 minute and 50 seconds to go. Lundbrix has just pulled into the pits, and that is, while the pit window has only got 47 seconds left of it. So he has really took it down to the wire. Lastminute.com gets himself in. Mahath Musa puts himself back into first place. Christoph Peterson running in second place will go and battle it out. Glenn Smith out into third place, getting ahead of Ernest Lundbrix now as they charge their way through. David Roth, though, a little bit too far back to capitalize on Ernest's pace. So Ernest has got that drive. He's got it done. He went for a bit of a late pit stop there just to carry the momentum through. But as the time starts to run away, time's starting to check out. We're waiting for Jeff to call final lap, that our leader, Mahath Musa, will be on the final lap. Christoph Peterson, though, doing everything he can to stay within this fight. He's pushing to try and get it done. Pit window is now closed, and our leaders will be coming across the line to start their final lap. Mahath Musa still in the charge to try and get a little bit of momentum. 44, 43 seconds left now, hard into the hairpin, late on the brakes, and Christoph tries to look for that inside line. Couldn't quite get it done and dusted against the Project Vapor driver, so he's going to try and go around the outside, and Mahath Musa instantly going and swiping across that front nose. So Christoph having to wait it out. Lucas Kollab ahead of Sky, and then we've got Rolotsky, Dave Young, Nicola Flores, and Nico Lawrence as our leaders are now on the final lap. Mahath Musa, Christoph Peterson on their final lap. Is it going to be a late lunge for Peterson to try and get that final checkered flag in for the season with Mahath Musa be able to keep up the momentum and see the checker flag for himself after he's worked absolutely incredibly hard to try and get second in the championship. And by getting first place here, he cements himself into that second place. Unfortunately, won't be ahead of Peterson due to him being in second in class. So Musa will finish up second in class for our diamonds, and Christoph Peterson, as he makes his way through, ladies and gentlemen, he is just keeping it nice and easy, nice and tight, tries to battle it out. Little Honda utilizing all bit of E-Tech. Now it's into the chicane though, going to be a quick dab of the brakes to bring it all sorted, but with darkness and with rain, makes life a little bit tricky. Going over the curbs, you could see how Christoph Peterson had to slow quite a bit because Mahath Musa stood on the anchors. They're running each other very, very wide. Oh, a little bit of side-by-side action. And contact between the two. Mahath Musa getting into contact with Peterson. A little bit of a loss out there. Not quite what you wanted to see. And not quite what we wanted our drivers to get into. Let's go and take a look from the helicam, because it does look like Peterson switched around, got pushed to the fringes. He's still going. And I tried braking, couldn't come back, and there's the contact to it. So just giving it a little bit too much in the braking zone. It does come across the line. Mahath Musa in first, Christoph Peterson in second. Glenn Smith will be taking third place and will be taking the win for our diamonds. We have got Ernest Lundbriggs comes across the line. Absolutely well done for him. Second in class. Mahath Musa gets first overall, but finishes up second in class. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have got a new set of winners, new sets of drivers going and find their way through, but it is still absolute madmen for the likes of Christoph Peterson to get it all sorted out. We're going to head back to the commentary side of things, and we're looking forward to doing a couple of interviews while we can, just to chat to our drivers. So while burnouts are happening out on track, and while the excitement bleeding in for some phenomenal racing, round 7, our final round of season 11, as we say goodbye to season 11 and a hello to our season 12 coming up later this year. We're going to have a chat to a couple of our drivers for the effort they had currently on track to put themselves into a proper run. So difficult and challenging conditions had by all, and well done. Mahath Musa seeing the end of the checker flag, but we have got our champions. So as we just take a look for the commentary box, we're going to give them a little bit of time to sneak on by and say hello, especially after it. And what a run it has been for all our drivers. Christoph Peterson walking away with a crown once again for ERA on a Sunday. He has got himself a season 10 and season 11 win here tonight. Mahath Musa gave everything he could right to the line. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough on the way through. So definitely a difficult run, and our drivers going to be smiling ear to ear on what has been accomplished. But early carnage at the start set the precedence of where the race is going to go, who's going to be able to push himself that little bit more as they got through the running order. So great to see our drivers really put in a huge amount of work. Unfortunately, Chris Wall, one of our retirements, he managed to get round Patrick Bells going and sweeping onto the inside as Patrick ran out a little bit wide, didn't quite have the power, and Walls was able to just keep that drive going. So absolutely well timed. And we're going to take a look at a couple of guys coming through. Firstly, starting off with Mr. Sky, who has come into the mix. No, he's gone. Never mind. He was around.
Oh, man.
Oh, there you are. Mr. Sky, welcome, well done, and wow. Third place when you were coming into the race. Lewis Knight finishing up behind you. Reynolds not in the race, and you managing to score valuable points. So,
yep.
How are you feeling?
I'm pretty sure we've been doing the maths. It's I think that it's a tie between Lewis and me on points for the championship, and Lewis has one more win. If I hadn't had to miss last week at Hungaroring, I would have won the championship.
Well, absolutely well done on your part for getting it towards the line, and some tremendous racing. I mean, absolutely great stuff. The conditions were less than favorable, if we can say for certain, but you had a proper chase out there. How'd you find your race in the wet, getting into the dark, and having to just keep it all together?
Oh, these are the conditions where I thrive. These mixed conditions, the changing times, the open strategy, all that sort of thing. That's where I thrive. I absolutely love this race. I think that ACC is best when it's wet. And the Lexus was unironically on fire today. The V8 did everything that I needed it to, and just a little bit more today. David was out of reach, unfortunately, but in the end, I mean, if I had been a bit closer, I would have had him. I got from a 30-second deficit at the start of the pit cycles down to 13 seconds in the end. I don't think he took tyres, so that made the end of the race significantly more difficult for him. I took the penalty, or the penalty on track, just to be able to get to the end of the race safely. We'll see. We'll see how the points shake out. But this could be my first ERA win as an LNR driver as well. It's lovely to represent Logistical Nightmare here.
Well, absolutely incredible stuff. I mean, the season has been up and down for you. You've had some great races. You've had some difficult times. I mean, you've gone from doing an endurance race that was a bit of a late finish to even climbing back in the car and go racing. I mean, it's been a wild run from start to finish, and getting to work out the points roughly where you sit, and I mean, just getting the win here in ERA, even though if it's a tie, I mean, it has been a great effort. Well, before we let you go, you've scored the wins, you've done well, you've clawed your way to the top. Is there anything you would like to say to all our amazing petrol heads out there and our associates, partners going and being a part of ERA, Evolved Racing, and now that we have concluded with season 11 and with on the horizon to season 12?
Season 12 is going to be fantastic. I'm going to be back in a car that I know really well. It's either going to be a Bentley or a McLaren or an NSX, joining Chris in the Rocket Bunny. Thank you to all of LNR's sponsors. Thank you very much to ERA for hosting this. Christian, we know how much work he does behind the scenes and how hard he's trying to keep all of us happy and all of us together. To the petrol reds out there, remember to always leave a space and be excellent to each other, and hopefully we get to race each other soon. Absolutely incredible stuff. Well done, Mr. Sky, and well done on the championship running. Absolutely incredible stuff. Thank you to yourself sincerely for jumping in the com booth. I'm sure it must have been difficult to have to take the driving gloves off and sit behind the microphone for a season like this. You know what, I can say I left it to the professionals out on track, and you guys showed how professionals can get in terms of close racing. It's been an honor. It's been a great season, and seriously, well done. Cheers, bud. Cheers. Have a good evening, mate. Thank you kindly. You too. Thank you so much, Mr. Sky, and well done getting his win. So we've got a couple of drivers that we're going to be bringing through. First to come up has been, a driver that's really turned heads, and that is going to be David Robertson, that has really got onto the climb. Dave Roth, I mean, this has been a great run for you. You had to fight tooth and nail. How are you feeling after it now that the championship has concluded? Season 11 is done and dusted. It's in the review mirrors, and you have gone and fought it out.
I mean, you were 5th in the championship, and you were just battling your way through.
This season has been a lot of ups and downs. I felt like I was either winning or I was in last, which isn't very consistent. I heard Ike talking about it, and that was my strategy, to not take tires if it was going to rain the entire time, just to get that advantage. He was getting really quick, and I was going to take that end of race penalty. I am very excited to see where these standings shake out, because 5th to, I think, 2nd, if my math tracks, is one hell of a jump for one race.
Well, I've got to say, it's been an absolute great one. And considering how close it was earlier in the championship, the gold division wasn't racing with the diamond and platinums, but you guys got to test your mettle out there on the difficult conditions of Donington. You got to go side by side with some of the fastest in ERA. How are you feeling with that?
Around here, the 488 felt right at home. It does exceptionally well in the wet. I took a little bit extra fuel just to keep the car planted, feeling stable. It felt really good around here. I was very surprised to get a 3rd place qualifying position. I definitely didn't fight with any of the platinum or diamond drivers when they came up on me during the race. That was not my fight to have, you know. But it felt good. The car felt good. I felt consistent. I couldn't ask for anything more, honestly. This racing's been incredible.
Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Well, before I let you go, anything you want to say to the amazing petrol heads out there, to our amazing partners that have been cheering you on, race in and race out right here at ERA?
I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank ERA for putting all this together. It's been awesome. I've learned so much. Anybody watching, I would highly, highly suggest you get involved. Last season, I was starting as a bronze driver. That would have been iron this season. And now I'm moving up to platinum because of all the amazing drivers in this series. I highly suggest people come in, get their feet wet, literally, figuratively, given the conditions. Yeah, you never know what you can accomplish.
Well,
and thank you, Steven.
Well, it's been an interesting one, and this weather was definitely for the Ducks. That is for certain, but absolutely tremendous, tremendous stuff. Well done, David, on a fantastic, fantastic season, and well done on the climb. And next up, moving into Platinum, can't wait to you fighting out with Chris in Diamond.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm moving into the Mercedes, so we'll see what I can accomplish.
Well, you can't go wrong with that big V8.
Yeah, right. No replacement for displacement.
That's it. That's it. And the engine's in the right place. It's ahead of you, not behind you.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for commentating. You've done an amazing job.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute honor. David Roth going and putting on a great show out there. Absolutely incredible stuff. And we've got to take our hat to him. He's been fighting it out. Well, second place in our diamonds. We're going to bring him up. After a long haul fight, he got to see the final checkered flag for season 11, but unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to get the championship crown. Well done to Mahath Musa. We're going to bring him up. So, Mahath Musa, well done on that run. Absolutely incredible stuff. How are you feeling after that race? It was definitely nose-to-tail racing.
Well, it was a sweaty race. One of the most difficult ones this season. But yeah, I had a fun race. Plan for the day was just keep it on the track. And yeah, I'm just happy that keeping the tires for the entire race paid off in the end. We basically tried something different was hoping we were going to try something different to the leaders. And it kind of paid off there. I would say very much lucky there in the end with Chris's drive-through. I know you saw some action there in the hairpin. That was, I don't know. I think I let him enough space there on the inside, but seemed like it wasn't enough. But yeah, all good and well. We came out unscathed. It was a nice race. Always nice racing against Chris. He knows how to keep you sweaty. Let's just stay sweaty in the wrong places. But yeah, it was a fun race.
Absolutely great stuff. I mean, this whole season has been a chase. The whole season has been wild. And I mean, you had to fight your way back up towards order. You came in on 76 points, 2 points ahead of Darius and Christoph, just in sight of it. But Magnus, before we let you go, anything you would like to say to our amazing petrol heads out there and to our partners that have been backing you up, cheering you on, and going and joining us here at ERA?
And I just want to say a very big thank you to all of them, to the event organizers, ERA, for hosting such an amazing championship once again. Second season in, and it's tougher than ever. Good tough racing in and out here at ERA. A big thank you to you, Stephen, as always, for the commentary that you provide us. Always nice to go and watch back the stream with you on the mic, so thank you very much for that. And yeah, a big thank you to the team and the sponsors. The team is always there for me. Today, we had a tough decision. Are we going to stay on the tires or are we going to put for tires? What we're going to do? And we kind of yellowed it, so pretty much grateful for them. And they know how to push you on, cheer you on, give you that motivation, that little hint. They know how to bring it out to you, so big thank you to them. And yeah, looking forward to the next one, Steven.
Absolutely incredible stuff, Mahath Musa of Project Vapor in the BMW M4 GT3, seeing the final checkered flag for Season 11. Well done, and go and enjoy the celebrations. Congrats on your second place for Season 11.
Great, thanks, Steven.
Great stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you've been waiting for it. You've been cheering it on. You've been waiting to hear. Let's bring in the winner of Season 11, the fastest of the fast that managed to fight it out and unfortunately didn't get to see the final checkered flag, was outdone by Mahath Musa at the end. But VTech definitely kicked in this season. Christoph getting across the line. Chris, how are you feeling with that? You hold the crown yet again. Season 10, you won it. Season 11, you walk away with the crown. And how close was that race for you?
Yeah, I'm super happy, of course. Despite the last stint being probably my worst stint in the whole season, with like 3 mistakes. But yeah, it was a fun race. It was a really strategic race for the most part, and in the end, it got a bit heated. Yeah, it was still a great end. Like small British tracks are not my favorite tracks to drive on. So I'm happy that I even got P2.
Well, I gotta say, absolutely well done. Incredible racing. Championship, start to finish, been a wild one. You have been working from dominating victories to suddenly having to fight Darius. Then you had Ernest. Then you had Mahath Musa on you. I mean, this has been a championship where the first 2 rounds were pretty much a holiday for you, managing to break away from the field. But ever since then, it has been just having to step up that game. How are you feeling looking towards Season 12 now that Season 11 is successfully in your mirrors?
I'm unsure. Like, the season break will definitely be very short, I think. So a car change would maybe be risky. I'm thinking about it, but I'm also like very happy in my car. Of course, it brought me 2 championships in a row. This is my 3rd one, by the way. Season 9 was also mine. So maybe I should take a bit of a risk next season. But I also think the competition next season will be maybe even harder than this season. So I maybe need the Honda to be in contention again. I don't know.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, we got to always leave the king to address his followers. Chris, you are free to address all those amazing petrol heads out there. And also our amazing partners, AssettoHosting.com, IMB Raceway, DSGR, and HSR, right here at Evolution Racing Academy.
Yeah, I think ERA is in such a good place right now. We made some choices this season that worked well, like lifting up gold to server 1, and in general, I think the licensing system works well. The website is getting better and better, and I think we also have great competition here and a great academy part that works well. And I'm really happy that I'm even more involved since this season as an admin. And yeah, I've been having a blast now since 4 seasons. It's basically been a year since I joined ERA. Many of the guys here are here for an even longer time and are still going great. So yeah, thanks to everyone involved, like to the whole admin team, to the Steward team, and to the spectators, to you, Steven, and of course to all drivers in all splits. This is a great community, and I think it will stay great next season too.
And grow strength to strength. Well, Chris, thank you very much, and congratulations on becoming Season 11's champion in the Diamond class, the fastest of the fast in ERA. Well, I can say in the world. Well done, Chris. Absolutely phenomenal work in a little car that most people look down on.
Thank you.
Oh, incredible stuff. And our champion going to be smiling with that one. Holding on to the crown yet again. Christoph Peterson had to work hard on that one. Myth Musa was right onto his tail, but just couldn't get it right at the end. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has really been an honor to be on the microphone for you guys here at ERA for Evolution Racing Academy. It has been just a tremendous time to come bringing all the racing action out on a Sunday with all the hard work getting brought in. A massive shout out to all the drivers, all the teams, you guys, the absolute phenomenal spectators out there. Shout out to the entire ERA admin team, and even got to give a shout out to Paul Fenter, who spoke to Christian Finger, going and saying, Christian, let's get Steven on the microphone for it. So shout out to you guys on getting me out on the microphone here at ERA. Had an absolute joy, and well, hopefully done a good enough job that will be coming back, but that is to be decided by you, the petrol heads out there, tuning in and being part of the show day in and day out here at ERA. So make sure, join up with some of our fun races, join up for next season, and also join up with our academy. Just go down to the link in the description to our website, and it will pull you through even here to our Discord to be a part of the Evolution Racing Academy. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has been a great one. But like all good things, it all has to come to an end, as much as we don't like to. But we leave it with this. And I can't wait to say welcome back very soon. But I'm going to leave you with this one. It's been a great race. It's been fun. And ERA has really brought the fire to it all. And like always, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody, from Evolution Racing Academy. And feel free to join the Endurance this weekend with HSR, DSGR, and ERA. Links are in the Discord. Have a good night, everybody, and thanks for joining us here for Season 11.